Hello, we're finally doing D&D again. Hooray! So it's been a good couple of weeks. So where are we? Who are we? Who am I?
We're on the ship.
What year is it?
Oh
Who's
yeah.
the president?
Well, I'm the greatwizardmerlan.
Wasn't there a big sea monster?
Oh wait, there was a big, great big thing
Oh,
in the water.
Yes,
You know, there's
okay,
something in the
I'll just get my
water.
head together.
Yeah, that's right. We're on a boat, motherfucker.
It's an eat.
I've got my nautical themed Pashmina Afghan.
So I remember.
Hang on.
Oh.
Just don't embarrass yourself. Let me have
I remember back in my day, I used to remember things.
Never happened.
Right, so the last session we had was session 12. Norgram the 18th. So the first thing I have here is nothing weird happens. There was
Lies.
Storm.
Wait for it. We haven't got
so
to
we
that
had
bit yet.
information about uncouth activities, and we are going past. I can't pronounce it, so I'm going to look at Cassus as I say this. Cruzac. Okay. So island. This is the island of internal storms. There's always had storms. People have come back from being close and saying that there are less than
the
average
island of
beings.
internal storms. Now that just sounds like I really need a shit.
Oh yeah.
Get out the way, internal storms are coming!
I've had internal storms before. Ain't pretty.
Sorry, couldn't help
It's
it.
okay. So there have been less than average beings. There's been lacks of information. It's barren of typical sea life, and there have been reports of storm giants. We've been asked as we're going to be having to go closer to that area because we've seen slavers, that we need to look after the animals as they will be under distress because they have not travelled via ship before.
Ah.
So during that time we came up with a variety of plans of how to look after the 12 horses. That was down from chemical potions, food for calming them, a combination of food with yourself, Carson, I have to remember your name there, sorry, an alchemical with Cass. It's fallen down.
Apologies.
It's okay.
I'm a DM.
So we used a combination of food, alchemy, and my magic.
Oh yeah, and I was animal handling.
And then I also have a quote from Merlan from that session was the "See the one, that's my contribution," because you rolled a no. Cass and Carson combined to make syrups and food, and then we also had one for Barefoot because he shit in these situations apparently. And you took Daffy for a walk, and tied up the bed so that they didn't fall over.
Nailed everything down.
That's what that was.
Nailed things down in the cabins. Yeah.
And then Hoff, Zach, and Carson used their BDSM skills to tie the horses down.
Hey, it worked.
I need to be bound. I like to be bound.
We had the con checks for roughness. Cass isn't doing so well. 1 more hour passes, the whole ship's going at 45-degree angles. Hoff, Zach, and Carson feel queasy. Cass chunders everywhere. We have a loud crack, and then I ran towards the sound because I am ridiculous. One of the ropes snapped around the horses. Hoff can't do it. Carson helps. As I ran up, a rum barrel slammed into me.
Convenient that.
Blue chick gets rammed by a barrel.
Yeah, it's a new D&D porno. Okay, so I have Cass is not steady on her feet. Zach can't catch her. There's a luck vortex from Merlan, and she falls over.
Wow, shit got a little bit.
Yeah, because aren't I the only one that's still standing on deck at the moment? Or am I imagining that?
We were crawling because it was safer.
We haven't got there yet.
Yeah.
So on deck, I fell over. I passed every check since then. So the captain and the wheel. I saw an unnatural water movement on the starboard bow. I can't cast due to the weather conditions. Cass tied a rope around my waist. Zach holds on. Hang on. Shouts to each other. Waves are weird. It's a magic thing in a magical storm. It's a formless outline. The creature doesn't need to hold form. I think it's an elemental. Captain shouts at us, "What are you doing on deck?" Cass ties rope round my waist. I crawls to the captain, points out the elemental. It's either an air or water-based elemental, possibly a storm elemental, we don't know. I light that shit up with dancing light. Cass shoots it with a crossbow. Zach summons the cavalry. They run up, they look at it. Carson can see it. I am fine. Carson is okay. Hoff is sick. Zach is sick. Cass is queasy, but adrenaline kicks in. That is what I wrote for our session notes. There you go.
Nice.
Yes.
Now we know how we do.
Yeah.
That is how adventurers do.
I haven't watched any of those videos for a while.
So we know that we're all on the deck, and then on the starboard side, there's probably an elemental.
There's elementals on
But
the
it's
starboard
lit,
bow.
but it's lit
starboard
up
bow.
with dancing lights still. Right, Cass?
Elementals on the starboard bow. Find a map, Jim. Sorry, is it?
It's
I
still
think
lit
it's still
up
got my
with
dancing lights.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Okay.
In a fashion.
That was one of the things that made me go, wait, didn't I?
Yeah, because I think you rolled it, but I don't think you changed the
Numbers.
yeah the number. Because those do become important. Unlike in like other role playing games, which is less important.
Talking about hit die.
Cute.
Yes, because in Pathfinder, for example, hit die are almost functionally irrelevant 90% of the time.
So we're on session.
yeah.
Oh no, we're on session 13. Cool.
It's okay, it's not a Friday.
This is all your fault, Merlan.
It's fine, I like Friday the 13th.
Murder us all! Murder
Murder
us all! Murder us all!
Friday the 13th is actually one of my luckiest days.
Should I just go jump overboard, and have a quick swimming lesson with the elemental thing?
Sure.
Send us a postcard.
Thrown into the sea to appease it.
Ooh, I like it. I don't think that'll work.
So,
Worth a try.
you are all currently on deck of the ship. The ship is fucking bobbing and moving and weaving and twisting like a bitch. It's pissing down with rain. It's kind of cold. And there's this lit up thing in the water that's it's been fairly difficult to fire at and attack because it's off the side. Who was prone based on the
Me. Yeah, I was being sick.
So you have Hoff, Zach
I'm
are
still
prone.
My money
Oh wait, I've got
disadvantages.
oh no wait, that's Hoff
No,
Queasy, Zach
Hoff.
Queasy.
Hoff and Zach are prone currently.
Yeah.
You're still on the floor on the deck.
No, I stood up last session.
Well,
You're
still,
fine.
No, I'm still on the floor on the deck because I've sat myself against the railing. It's because I've been shooting. I've been bracing myself against the railing of the ship to hold me in place so I
Yes.
don't fly about.
But you're not prone because you can't attack prone.
But she can make attacks prone with a crossbow. You can't really do it with a bow, but you can with a crossbow because they're still in such a way they can be fired easily.
You can't swing a greatsword.
Firing prone with guns and with crossbows, I think, is an advantage because you're more steady.
That also makes sense.
Whereas
We'll have
obviously
to look that up.
melee while you're prone.
Yeah.
It's
If you've got
hard.
a dagger and you go, jab, then that could be fine.
I probably wouldn't give advantage or disadvantage if you're just shanking the chain.
Oh yeah.
Either way. So Cass was a little bit queasy, but she has adrenaline at the moment. And you were fine because you keep fucking lucking out with your roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was able to suddenly go, oh, I'm fine. I ran ahead of everyone up the stairs and I'm on deck going, what's
Yeah.
going on? Oh yeah, there's a
Yeah.
thing over there.
So, is anyone who is currently prone going to be attempting to stand up?
Yes.
Okay. So, give me a dex check at disadvantage.
Okay. This is a dex save.
No, it's just a check.
Yeah, that's right. Don't touch my tray because that'll give you
18.
bad luck.
Okay.
It was advantage or disadvantage?
Disadvantage.
Oh, disadvantage. Oh, shit. Ah! You spoke. 4.
Shut
Okay.
up,
No, sorry,
Merlan.
6. No, yeah, 4.
Okay, so you try to get up, but the movement of the ship is making it prohibitively difficult at the moment. So you're still struggling. You're remaining prone. You're actually still stood up. Give me a dex save at disadvantage to remain stood up.
Oh, dex save.
Yeah, I can't actually see anything about prone.
It
12.
says here all attacks while made prone have disadvantage within 5 foot. So.
No, 12.
12. Okay, yeah, so you remain stood, and Lucy, as Macaria, you are currently stood, so roll me a disadvantage dex save to remain stood.
I do this. 14.
Yep, you remain stood, and you don't fall on your ass.
Hooray!
Currently, I'm going to say that Zach is in the doorway where he's not consequential at current, while the player is not here. So, as you are all there, roll me a perception, please. No disadvantage.
Oh, no disadvantage this time.
No.
Ooh.
Wait, it's
Wang.
lit off the
Number
screen.
Wang.
Yeah, number one.
Okay.
Let's see, intelligence.
Wanganum.
6. Oh look,
Okay.
luck vortex.
12.
Okay.
23. Just in case.
Cassandra,
3.
you somehow miss everything that I'm about to fucking describe.
Cool.
You three and
Oh,
the
captain.
captain all watch as a large water elemental
Yay.
Oh.
jumps out of the water onto deck.
Oh cock.
You somehow miss this.
Well, yeah, it could be a wave.
Reloading.
It currently
Yeah.
has dancing lights
Yeah.
on
Okay.
it.
I'm totally
Right.
reloading my crossbow.
Yeah, if I'm still retching, then I could just think it's a wave.
Oh, you've seen it.
You see
Oh,
it, I don't.
Oh, right.
DC was 5.
Oh, okay. Right then. Oh crap.
Reloading
So,
crossbow.
this-
Can't
this-
see shit.
Large water elemental that currently has lights dancing around it, lighting it up like a Christmas tree in the middle of a dark storm, jumps up onto deck.
Yeah. What?
Water follows it on, spraying you with slightly saltier water than you're having spattered in your face already.
It's just more water.
Yeah.
Saltier.
Week before, whenever it was we last played, your
Last time.
check was pretty good. You are aware that this thing would be more susceptible to certain types of magical damage.
Earth.
This particular one, based on the fact that it is a water elemental, now that you can see it very clearly,
Oh, the lightning? Oh, okay.
cold-based damage
Oh.
actually does a lot against these.
Oh yeah,
It's
I can't
pretty
see shit.
useful shit.
I don't have any elemental attacks yet.
I can do that, but I can't see shit.
I'm gonna hunter's mark that bitch.
Okay.
And you are also aware that it can trap you inside itself.
Oh,
Yummy.
no. Can I ask
Salty.
whereabouts on the
Saltiness.
deck has it jumped?
So it's...
Because we're closer to where the captain is with the steering wheel.
Yeah, towards the back of the ship. So it's jumped closer to the mast, so it's further forward on the ship. So you guys are currently between it and where the captain is.
Okay.
Right, so say this is the ship, right? So the captain's here, the mast is here. I was here against the railing. It's jumped up to here, and I still can't see shit.
Yeah, this is why I'm making quite a big deal of you somehow missed this.
And I'm just there. Oh look,
It was
is that
just
a
a
water
wave.
beard that it's got?
What?
A magnificent water beard.
Do we need to roll initiative?
Yeah, you all will need to roll initiative.
Unless
Is it disadvantage?
you're protesting.
No.
Okay.
Even though you haven't seen it, the roll for initiative is still done.
You know what? Because I rolled first. I'm gonna let you roll first,
Right, I can't remember how you do it.
just in case.
You should literally
Fuck!
have an initiative.
It didn't change anything.
number.
I can't see it.
Okay, so that is 5.
Oh.
Luck vampire!
Did you roll a?
I rolled 5, and he's rolled. Well, I rolled a 3 with my bonuses of 5. He's rolled a natural 18.
You son of a bitch.
Okay, so let's go with, has anyone got 20 or above?
Close. 19.
Okay. Carson. 15 and above.
Me. I got a 17.
It's probably going to be me next on a 12.
Okay, so yeah, so 10 and above.
12.
Okay.
Have you rolled the captain?
I haven't, because the captain, strictly speaking, is not going to be an initiative
He busy.
for the purpose of combat. He is functionally, at the end of each round, is when his action kind of goes, because he's controlling the ship.
Mm.
He is not combat for the purposes of this fight.
Cool.
And then what was yours?
5.
Ooh.
Bottom of the order.
Okay.
Unless the enemy did worse. You never know, it could have done worse.
So Carson, currently, you will be moving. You will go on my first whistle.
Oh shit! Wait a minute. It's going to be really noisy. How can I tell? It's like.
So, I'm not asking you to shout, obviously, but if you remember from last time, the storm is very loud and the fact that the ship is crashing against the waves and yada yada. Everyone is currently shouting to be heard, but you don't need to actually shout.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to assume, that the big thing that's just, hit the deck, it's going to be looking quite aggressive.
You can roll me an insight.
Ooh. 16?
Yeah, it seems pretty aggressive.
Yeah, it's like.
Well, it's been shot at and covered in dancing lights.
See, I don't know if it's been shot at, because I think it got shot at before I came up.
Oh.
I think.
No, I think a bolt's gone out since you've been.
I've shot
Oh, has
twice.
it? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Then never mind.
Shot 3 actually.
3.
I think 3.
Let me check my
If you've written it down, then I may just be remembering wrong. But
4.
oh, you shot 4. Oh, there you go. We're both fucking wrong. So,
Yes, see, I could try and figure this out, or I could just go fuck it.
Just
Go big or go home.
for it.
I'm going to start off by spending 2 points of key and doing my Fist of Unbroken Air, unless I'm not within 30 foot of it.
you are within 30 foot.
Okay. So choose a creature within 30 foot.
Is it within 30
strength
foot?
saving throw, please.
Is it within 30 foot?
Yeah, it is.
Which is what is my 10 plus wins. Okay. Oh yeah, you beat it.
18.
Okay, so that means you take. So you don't get knocked prone, which I'm not sure if that would even work, even if it didn't work. But and half damage. So half damage at least.
Okay. And what type of damage, please?
Bludgeoning.
Okay.
Where is my d10s? You. You.
Somewhere
You just
stupid.
punch the water.
With air.
Ah.
You did.
Yes, your elemental monkey powers.
So 17, 21,
Monkey magic.
halved, 10 or 11.
Is it rounded up?
Rounded up.
Rounded in favour of player.
Okay, so 11 bludgeoning damage.
Okay. And that's halved already.
Yeah, that's halved already. It would have been 21.
Okay.
Then I'm going to,
Cry like a little girl.
I'm going to move up to it. To within 5 foot, because I'm not sure what its reach is right now.
Okay.
And then I'm going to use my bonus action to punch it.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit unsure at this point, so I'm like, it's water. This might work. This might not. 14.
14 will hit.
Ooh. And this is going to be bludgeoning again.
Mm-hmm.
4 bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And that is my turn
So
for now.
you punch the water, and it's exactly like you'd expect punching water would feel like, and it feels kind of ineffective because you're not really sure how effective punching water really is.
Yeah, so I felt the resistance. That's about it. It's like,
At this point, the water elemental moves forward 5 feet into your square
oh
and
shit.
stops.
Yeah.
It's swallowing you whole.
I need you to make a strength saving throw.
You're gonna drown you.
Right back at you.
Fuck. Now would be the point.
Number 1.
Yeah. 6.
Okay, you fail one.
Swallowing whole.
No, I'd argue that's a really good roll.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, opposite world.
So you take 14 bludgeoning damage.
Ow!
and you are currently grappled. You are restrained and unable to breathe, unless you can breathe water.
Nah.
You can breathe water, right?
How long can you hold your breath for?
Oh yeah.
That's,
I'm
something
gonna
we should work
I
out.
think it's depending on your constitution
I
modifier
know,
or
but
something
I want
like
to
that.
make sure.
I do believe so. Give me 2 seconds. I will use that oldest and wisest of information sources, the internet.
It's
Well,
not something that
waiting,
really
can
comes
I
up.
answer the Twitch question?
You
Yeah.
can.
Okay, so
Did you also?
off stream, I am the DM for this group and I play on a Thursdays. And one of the moments I realised I messed up in a roleplay game is I realised that I made an NPC too important to my party. Because as we were going along, they let the NPC die, and I realised I had no way of furthering the storyline unless I made stuff up, which is why I wrote a letter in their house for when they looted it afterwards. And even then, that storyline died off, and I had to give up on it.
Oh.
Hang on, it wasn't a mistake for me. It was just my players completely blindsided me. It was I was doing a Call of Cthulhu mission, and there was obviously a point where they had to go into the creepy basement where the thing was hiding, and they were wise. This is like, no, fuck it, let's not go into the basement. Let's rip up the floorboards in the kitchen and just shoot down into the basement, and then set fire to the house.
Wow.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, so they ripped up the floor in the kitchen. Saw the sort of lich thing. Saw the ancient wizard thing who had entombed himself in the basement. Go, and then just proceeded to shoot through this hole in the floor, and then set fire to the place.
I think one of my biggest I messed up moments is realising I had to be a DM. And like, oh shit, I have to be responsible.
I got loads from Merlan.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
yeah,
about to say,
there is
are
a
way
lot
too
for
many
me.
for Merlan.
Yeah.
We were in a desert city, a city that did not recognise much magic and famine. And Merlan plays a wizard in our Pathfinder campaign. And after fixing all of the buildings with magic in the middle of this desert town, he made a fountain appear out of nowhere. So all of the people worshipped him as a god as he gave them water. And he didn't realise why this was a bad thing. As a lawful good character, he can't just pronounce himself god.
There was also another one for Merlan.
Oh,
when,
yeah.
When we were in a
guessing.
town and we got given this thing to make wishes.
I knew that was coming.
And the way you word wishes is you've got to be very strict with your wording of wishes, otherwise it could go very terribly wrong.
Monkey paw.
He was not, and he wished for lots of gold. So the room we were in started filling up with gold. Then it filled up the house and started overflowing onto the streets.
It bludgeoned and murdered people.
Yeah,
It took
and just kept going.
It took a crack team of wizards to come in to try and dispel the effect before it overrun the town.
I feel like all of this pales in comparison to the Archmage, the wizard who is a king and a master of magic, all shape and sizes, asking a magic illiterate samurai about magic.
It's one of my best moves.
My character, in relation to this character, that made all these previous fuck ups that have just been mentioned, has no clue about magic, and the wizard asks this samurai who doesn't know about magic.
It was pretty funny though.
I think one of my biggest I messed up moments was when the bad guy was torturing me and I did fuck all to help a deity.
Yeah.
I got a deity tortured and almost killed.
Fuck it, it'll be alright.
Oh, I married a god of pain. That was another moment. Yeah.
It's all fun and games.
Those
Okay.
are just a few. The tip
Just
of
a
the
few.
just the tip of the iceberg.
There have been many.
I'm ready.
So, a creature can hold its breath for a number of minutes equal to 1 plus its constitution modifier, minimum of 30 seconds. It's apparently in the player handbook.
So 1 plus con.
Yep. When a creature runs out of breath or is choking, it can survive for a number of rounds equal to its constitution modifier. So based on the fact that you could see it coming at you, you had enough time to go
So really,
so you have got your breath held.
So he can hold his breath for how long?
4 minutes.
So, yeah, so you have a long time.
So 4 rounds.
4 rounds.
So is
No.
A round is 6 seconds.
Yeah,
That's
that's
quite a long time.
Yes, he actually does have a long time if he can get out.
So that's...
Yeah, and also the more I do things, the more it chips into my air supply. I remember how this shit works.
So you've got 40 rounds.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, you know, the more actions I do, it starts chipping more into my time somewhere along the line.
It's because it's like exertion.
It's nice
Yeah.
and yeah.
Unless there isn't such a thing in 5th.
Possibly not.
I can't see anything suggesting that you lose rounds when you do things. That might be the case, but I can't immediately see anything, so I'm not going to enforce that.
Okay.
I'm going to be very nice to you here.
Yeah, oh, that's fine. Yeah, because I thought it was very similar to the way Pathfinder did it, but...
Okay.
but
Either way, you are currently restrained, grappled, and unable to breathe. So restrained, your speed is 0, you can't benefit from any bonus of speed. Attack rolls against you have advantage, your attack rolls have disadvantage. You have disadvantage on dex saving throws. Grappled, speed 0, condition ends if grappler is incapacitated. Creature also ends can in fact remove grapple creature from the reach. So yeah, so mostly it's the restrained that's the relevant thing there, and the fact that you can't breathe.
that's
right,
cool.
suffocating's there. Twat.
But that's him.
Suffocating was handily on my DM screen. I just didn't fucking look far enough.
Yeah,
to the left.
suffocating. You know, next one, concentration. You know, I can't do that shit.
So BDSM was
that-
last session, suffocation's this session.
That is its turn. it is taken its turn to do that. At which point, Macaria.
Do I need to make a concentration check to attack to cast a spell?
At the moment, yes, based on the fact that the conditions are actually still quite difficult.
Okay, so check how to do a concentration check. Stupid.
Cast level plus D20, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I don't have anything written down anywhere.
So
I believe you're cast level 4 because you're a caster. And then roll your D20, I believe.
Concentration rules right there.
Oh no, that. Oh yeah, sorry.
so the
Take
DC
damage.
equals 10 or half the damage you take. That's
It doesn't actually say how to work out your.
Yeah, so I've got the DC at the moment.
Okay, so what do I roll? D20?
Oh, sorry, it's Constitution saving throw to maintain concentration. So yeah, so concentration in this is basically a con save,
Oh.
which kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no problem. But it's a spell casting stat, but okay, fair enough. Con saving throw 3. I rolled a 1.
Oh, okay, yeah, 1 would be instant fail. So again, I'm not making you lose the spell, but because of the conditions, you're struggling to put the spell together to cast it.
Okay.
You still have move action, and you can still use some words.
I don't want to move closer to it.
Reasonable.
I don't have anything to say, so I'm good.
Okay. So Cassandra, you still haven't seen any of this going
Nope.
on. You can roll a perception check.
I was going to try and find the bastard in the water because I've lost it.
So again, roll perception.
It was in the water. No, it's not. I can't see it in the water, and that's where I've been shooting.
I've given it a hug from the inside.
Ew.
11.
You look up and see it on the deck with him inside it, currently surrounded by dancing lights.
So I'm going to draw my sword,
Okay.
cut my palm.
So, now that you've got a good look at it, because you had a good roll as well last time, I see. I remembered that they both had good rolls and knowledges.
Yay.
You're aware, based on the knowledge that you'd have retained based on the way you act, you'd be aware that it's actually quite resistant to most forms of mundane damage.
Right.
Anything potentially non-magical, as far as you're aware, is going to be less effective against it.
Cool.
You're also aware that it can't be restrained, knocked prone, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. There's the answer to my question.
So I'm going to be using 4 of my words to shout, hit it with magic.
Glub.
I'm going to try and stand up.
Yep, so roll me a dex check, ability check at disadvantage.
Check. So that's 13.
Yeah, you stand up.
Cool. That's half of my move, isn't it? To stand up.
It is, yeah.
Can I use the other half to get close to it?
Yeah, it's not that far away from you.
Cool. I'm going to get up close and personal and twat it.
Okay, roll to attack.
Oh, I need to take my damage off my hit points. Hang on a sec.
It's a bonus action to
Bonus
add it,
action,
isn't it?
yeah. Cool.
So with the way that works, it adds cold damage on top of your
On
attack.
top of my base attack,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so I'll need to know the...
I'll do it 2 separately, yeah. Does a 24 hit it?
Yes.
I need... Okay, so my normal damage is 9.
Okay.
And 1 cold damage.
Okay. As you hit it with cold damage, part of the elemental freezes.
Oh.
It seems to sort of start moving a little bit slower around that part of it as well.
Awesome.
Not a lot of it freezes based on the amount that you did.
Yeah. Piss
But
all.
again, so part of it sort of freezes and it shifts and sort of... You think it looks angrily at you, you're not sure.
It's a blob, I don't
It's
know.
kind of like a blob with like eye-ish bits. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Hoff.
Right, I'm going to cast Hunter's Mark upon it.
Okay, can you please give me a con save concentration?
Can't save.
Because currently putting together the movements and the words is quite hard in the conditions you're in.
Fucking luck vampire
3.
over them.
Okay, unfortunately you aren't able to cast a spell. You don't lose the spell slot,
Okay.
but you don't manage to weave together the magic.
That was my contract too.
Yeah.
That was my concentration was 3. This is all your fault. Shut up, Merlan.
I'm in it!
Shut up,
Are you doing
Jonah! Jonah! He's
Yeah,
cursed us.
Are you doing anything else?
Well, I can't do anything else. That was my attack. That was my attack action, essentially.
You can still use movement.
Yeah, I'm going to move. I'm going to get to a good firing position where there's also some cover.
Okay, so you can either crawl, which is half movement speed, or you can use half your movement to attempt to stand up, which will incur an ability.
I'm going to try and stand up.
Okay, so if you roll me your dex ability check at disadvantage.
Oh.
Better. Oh.
Hey!
Yay, better.
So that'll be 17.
Okay, you stand up. So you've got half your movement left after standing up.
Right, and I'm just going to try and find a better position.
Okay. So if you were to go closer to where the helm of the ship is, if you don't go up the stairs, you could either lean against where the stairs and the railing are, or you could lean against the sort of raised...
The castle.
Yeah, essentially.
The aft castle.
Yeah, and if you were to do that, you'd be able to use that to steady yourself.
Yep, I'll steady myself against the aft castle.
Okay, so that's fine. So you steady yourself up against there. Right. Background to Castle.
Gleb.
Also, I think Hunter's Mark is actually a bonus action. Thinking about it.
Is it? I thought it was a spell, so I thought
It
therefore
is,
I'd have to
I
use.
think Hunter's Mark to cast as a bonus action.
No, yeah, because is it an ability rather than...
No, it is a spell.
It
but I
is
think
a
it's bonus
spell.
action to cast it.
Hunter's Mark. Choose a creature you see within range, mystically mark until the spell ends.
Should be casting time at the top.
Oh,
of it.
casting time is 1 bonus action. Yes.
Yeah, so you actually do still
I will
have your action.
I'll shoot my crossbow then.
Okay. So
Loose.
being fair, you know.
Yeah.
Because I was
Loose
thinking-
my crossbow. Pew! That'll be so attack is plus 6 on that, so 17.
Yep, that'll hit.
Good. Has he suffered any damage already?
He has.
Excellent. Colossus Slayer, which is a
And he is actually bigger than you, so if you'd had Giant Slayer, that would have applied.
yeah. Hang on. Colossus Slayer. That's D8, isn't it?
Remember off the top of my head.
I think so. I seem to remember something about D8s.
Your
D8.
D8.
No.
So I think Hunter's Mark is D6.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's going to be 2d8 damage plus 2.
Does it tell you
Lackluster.
what type of damage it is?
Piercing.
Okay, so it just
6.
applies to whatever damage it is
Yeah.
that you're using. Ah, cool.
So 6 piercing damage. That's just going to.
So 6 piercing damage, so that's... Yep, so that plops into its form. It seems to affect it, just not hugely. But yeah, so back up to Castle. You can attempt to escape.
Can I attempt to break free?
Yep, which is an athletics check.
Athletics.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! I mean, I should be good at those. Okay, maybe I am. 21.
Okay, yep. So you break free and you move into the next adjacent square.
Yeah, so he walks into me and I walk out of it.
Go the other side. So we've got flanking.
Circle kick.
That does take your action to do it.
Ah. No, so
You
is
can
it
move,
full?
But
So just a standard action then.
yeah, because it takes your action to use the athletics to break the grapple.
Oh wait, no, because part of the bonus actions depend on me actually attacking on my main action, so I can't even do that. I'm going to. I'm going to move a bit away. I'm going to move a bit away from it. So specifically, I move 20 foot away from it.
Okay, so you provoke an attack opportunity.
Shit. Can I, acrobatics to try and
No, you have to use disengage.
Ah, okay.
And that takes an action, doesn't it?
Unless you're a rogue.
Okay, that's fine.
So, it attempts to slam you. 18 to hit.
Actually, no.
Okay. So it misses.
It's because of the mage armor that you slapped on me earlier in the day. Because that lasts 8
Well, the
hours?
condescending rage armor, yeah.
Yeah.
The condescending.
Yeah.
It's condescending
Well,
rage armor.
does it say condescending things to you as you get hit?
So yeah. So luckily, no. I managed to avoid that.
So it swings at you, and it
Not very good.
It misses.
That could
Yeah.
have hurt.
So I was like,
Yeah,
no,
well
dodge.
done.
I'm not getting wet again.
Shut up, condescending rage armor.
Okay.
And that's going to be my turn for now.
That'd be a good weapon. The condescending sword. It's a magic sword, but it's always really condescending to you.
Will be good.
So,
You should have trained harder.
Oh look, you missed. You suck.
Again.
Congratulations, jackass.
Oh look, I'm rusty. I wish someone took care
it's
of
going
me.
to swing at you.
Yep.
Because you are currently closest to it.
Yep.
So it's 23 hit
Yep.
you. Okay. So it slams what appears to be a large watery fist into you.
Yeah,
I'm being fisted by water. Got it.
It's 11 bludgeoning damage.
Just trying to think what I can actually do.
Nothing.
Which
You're useless.
point it is going to then swing its arm out and wing what looks like a glob of water at you.
I've got an idea.
14 doesn't hit you.
No, but otherwise, if it did, I was going to ask if it counts as a projectile.
Yes.
Because I could potentially deflect it.
But yeah, so that misses you.
Yeah, it's like, oi!
At which point, Macario, it's your turn.
I'm going to try again. Let's do my concentration check.
Yep.
Concentrate,
So, con save.
concentrate.
Let's do it first. So. Five.
Fucking love vampire.
Right. So unfortunately, you're still struggling with the elements. I mean, you're really not used to being on a ship in a storm like this. and it's
Just
you're struggling.
Merlan, just get up and get me a cup of
Can
tea.
you
When it's my turn, so you're not you're not near me when I roll.
also have a dex save?
Yes, Nick.
This currently won't be at disadvantage. Yeah, based on the fact
13
that
or
the
or
captain
something?
has managed to steer the ship a bit steadier.
No, absolutely. A tea. I think.
No
With
natural
some
20.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, you're fine.
I'll check.
Why is it I can do that properly and not
Yeah,
the
although if you are
other
offering tea,
thing?
that'd be great.
You still have a move action.
I don't have anywhere to go.
It's alright, you know.
So really I'm there like
Oh no! I've busted a blood vessel!
Just hearing the frustration.
Actually, she's doing some of these hand movements, which the hand movements aren't necessarily too bad. But every time she opens her mouth to use some of these arcane words, she coughs on water,
Yeah.
hitting the back of her throat.
I keep gagging.
She's
Yeah,
not used
you
to it that
do.
deep. She's not used to it that deep and that hard against the back of her throat.
No, it's just too much for me.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Cassandra is next.
I'm a twat it.
Okay. Roll me
17.
17 will hit.
So 14 normal, 3 ice. 3 cold, sorry.
Okay, so once again, where you strike freezes over a little bit. The previous bit where you'd struck has sort of already melted back in again. But again, it seems to start to freeze and stop moving as much as you strike it. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Hoff.
Hunter's mark. Concentration.
Yep, your hunter's marking.
Hey. So that's concentration. Oh, so concentration is that
So
off in
Constitution-
wisdom.
It's Constitution.
Oh, sorry,
saving
Constitution.
throw.
Yeah,
Oh.
so
Oh, good.
are you doing it proficiency?
Yeah, 15.
Yep, that's fine.
So okay, so cast Hunter's mark.
Yep, so Hunter's Mark is now affecting it,
okay.
which means you get a d6 additional damage to any hit on it.
And then I'm going to attack it. Ooh. Do I go for the big hit and go for -5 plus 10? Okay, well I'm plus 6 anyway to attack, so it'd be plus 1. We don't know how. I don't really know where its vulnerable bits are, so I'll just shoot it.
Okay.
Oh, good. Okay, that's 10.
10 will not.
No.
Oh, good.
So the bolt sails past it, and you think it goes off somewhere in the drink.
I don't know. Yeah, that's what it
No, not in the drink.
Anything else?
No, can't really do anything else.
Okay, and if you could make me a dex save at advantage, because you are currently propped up against the castle.
Oh yeah, shit, I was supposed to be getting up. Never mind.
Yes. Yep, aced it. Natural 20.
Oh yeah,
Number
go.
wang.
You are fine. In fact, you reckon you propped yourself up in such a way that even if the ship rocks unexpectedly, you don't think you're going down just yet. You're not prone at the moment.
I'm not prone.
No, you weren't ever.
No, he said he was going to get up to go make drinks.
Oh right.
Yeah, I was about to do that.
Well,
But
after your turn now.
yeah, no, it's fine. So I know what I'm going to do. At least.
Actually, after your turn and the elementals, just in case he attacks you.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's your
Your
turn.
turn.
That's my turn. Right. I'm gonna look around. Can I see Makara anywhere?
Yes.
Cool. Is she within 40 feet of me?
Yes.
Cool. I'm gonna move over towards her.
Move over towards her.
Okay.
Only.
Yeah. It's like, how do we defeat this thing?
Cold magic.
Okay. I'm gonna try and help you. So I'm going to use the aid action to try and help her cast her spell.
Okay.
Because, you know, I'm going to assume that she's having trouble because I haven't seen any weird wibbly things going off.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try and help block her from the rain, and give her some encouragement. So you can do it. Yeah. Literally just gonna be like a windbreak, or something. Will that work?
Are you doing anything else?
No.
Okay. So the water elemental is going to swing at you.
Yep.
You're right next to it. You are like prime target.
Mhm.
Does a 20 hit you?
Yep. Just so you know, my AC is 14.
Okay. 9 bludgeoning damage.
Okay. Hang on.
I know. I'm getting ready.
At which
Let me
point,
take it.
Mhm.
going to swing at you again.
Mhm.
Fake that. 19 will hit you. Please take another 10 bludgeoning damage.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, this thing doesn't pull its punches.
Yeah, I know. I am now on 15 hit points out of 53.
Yeah, so it almost swings its arm back at you, just smashing across your chest. At which point it brings both down and just hits you on the shoulders, almost making you buckle a little bit with the sheer force. Surprising of a creature made entirely of water. At which point it starts to move towards where the castle is. You get an attack of opportunity.
Awesome.
Kick it in the dick. Kick it in the dick.
What constitutes a dick on a formless creature?
I don't know.
Oh shit!
That sounds like complicated
Oh, it's
questions to
what?
me.
How do crits work?
You roll a natural 20, you double or rolled damage.
Cool.
Yeah? So yeah, so
Don't try and fucking run away from me, bitch.
any static bonuses remain the same, but
Yeah.
anything rolled, you double. Or you can roll double the dice, whichever you prefer. Because technically it's a little bit unclear about that. But either is acceptable in my opinion.
So 19 normal damage and 7 cold.
7 cold.
Yeah.
How'd you get an odd number off of doubling?
I rolled 2d4.
Oh, it's 2d4. That's why. Cool. So again, the party strike freezes over. At which point it is actually your turn. It is currently
Cool.
10 feet away from you.
I'm gonna step up and twat it.
Roll to that.
10.
No. So this one actually misses. You sort of misjudge the formlessness of it as it's moving and shifting, and your sword just swings straight past. And I've just realised I've done something slightly the wrong way around, but it doesn't matter because, in theory, Courier.
I'm gonna try and hit it.
So, for your con save for your concentration, you will have advantage because you're being aided.
Hooray.
That's better.
Yay. 19.
Yep, so that's fine. So you can cast your spell as normal.
Does a 13 hit it? In a range, hang on, let's say,
Is it ranged touch?
range spell attack.
Nope. Unfortunately, it will not hit it.
Okay.
So what happens?
What were you casting?
Ray of Frost.
Okay, so this fairly long, cold ray blasts past it, freezing some of the rain and such, and a little bit of the deck as it goes past. but unfortunately it doesn't quite hit it. Are you doing anything else?
Nope, can't do anything else.
Hoff.
Well,
Apologies, can you also both give me dex saves?
from what I could see from my crossbow bolts, do they seem to be having much effect?
They are physically affecting it, but they are physically affecting it, but it's not as much as it would normally on another creature.
With great reluctance, I do draw the nope stick and move forward as close as I have to, and then whoosh,
Oh, God.
which I think is the noise it makes.
Okay,
I like the sound effects.
where it currently is, you don't have to move because it is actually within the 15 feet range
good.
it has.
Is the tentacle stick coming out?
Yep.
Woo!
I just want to check. Okay,
What's your dex save?
so you can make
6.
so yes, you can make up to 3 attacks.
Yep.
Each with a +9 bonus.
Okay. With my strength, is this this is just a flat +9.
It's the item that actually gives a
Yeah.
+9 to
Oh,
the attack.
Wanganum.
Nice.
Okay.
No, that's bad. And then a 17, and for the last one, oh, shit, doing really bad. That's 13.
Okay, one of those hits.
Yay! That's D8.
D6.
So D6 plus D8 plus another D6.
Yes, because your Hunter's Mark and your
Colossus Slayer.
Colossus Slayer do apply.
All right. That is 15 damage.
Okay, so it is bludgeoning damage from the tentacle rod.
Yep.
So 15, so you get...
Let's just throw my crossbow away.
Okay.
I'm the tentacle gnome.
So, these 3 tentacles just whip out at it, one of which hits it where you roughly think its sort of main mass would be. The other 2 just swing as its mass sort of shifts inwards a little bit, and they just miss. Which point... okay, so the ship actually feels rather steady again this round, because, thank you very much,
Because
the
Cassus
captain
is
is
being
in fact-
bribed.
no, actually, it is because the captain rolled a natural 19
Nice.
on top of all his other such for shipping, generally, to keep the ship as steady as he can, which is pretty good.
6 on her dex check.
Okay, so with your dex check, was that at standard, not disadvantage?
No, she standard.
Cool, yeah, so you do fall prone.
Thank you.
For this round, you will not need to make any dex saves or checks. You can stand up without a dex check. You won't need to make any for your turn, because the ship is steady enough that you're not being as affected by it. Carson, good timing, your turn.
Yay! did my assisting help?
For the
For the
Constitution
casting
save
off the
it
spell,
did.
yes.
Unfortunately, she just missed with the spell.
So the monster is still there.
It has also
Helping her.
moved closer to where you guys all are.
Keep helping her.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bother, I'm not prone, so I won't be able to cast a spell next thing, so I'd attack it.
Does it take a full round action to cast, or is it a standard action?
To go up from prone, don't know.
No, so standing up from prone is just half your movement.
So I can still cast on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, you still can.
Okay.
I say technically you can actually still cast while you're prone, but casting the spell will be at disadvantage. But you can just use half
But I
movement
can't
and
cast as prone because it casts as an attack, but it would be a disadvantage.
Yeah, you see, so you can still make attacks while you're prone. It's just certain types of attack are at disadvantage.
I'm just gonna solve this problem. I'm gonna pick you up.
Fair.
And try, and assist you, afterwards. Is it going to take some kind of check for me to pick her up to get
No,
her
so
stand up?
currently the ship's fairly steady, and I will basically go off of you're using half your movement to help her stand up.
Yeah. That's fine. And then I'm going to use the aid another action.
Okay.
I was just his sister goes, she's like, come on, the weather's better now, you can do it.
Okay. Anything else?
Currently no, apart from generally keeping an eye on the monster.
Okey-dokey.
And making sure it doesn't come and twat us.
So, the monster moves another 10 feet. You get an attack of opportunity because it moves out of your threatened area.
14.
14 will hit.
Woo!
You can do the magics.
Maybe do the magics.
How do you feel? Just manhanded you up.
11 normal, 4 cold. I'm glad I'm rolling high on my d4s.
Okay. So again, you catch it through the main body, freezing some of it as your blade goes through. At which point, it is going to be within 10 feet of the two of you.
Eep.
And it does have enough reach.
Shit.
So it swings first at you. 25 hit you.
I want to say no, but that would be a lie.
That's not how the game works.
You take 10 points of bludgeoning damage
Ow.
as it functionally punches you in the face.
It's like, poof! Cast a spell!
And does a 13 hit you, Macario?
A 13. So 10 plus dex. No.
Okay, so it swings out and misses you
Mage armor.
with one of its big ass water fist things. At which point, it is your turn. 'Cause I did the turn as well.
Yeah, so I'm just, so all of a sudden it's like, poof! Cast the spell! Wow, I don't feel that pressure.
Right, so, do you attack or are you aiding me?
He's aided you. So, for once again, for your concentration, you're at advantage.
12.
Yep, that's fine.
Right.
So you can cast your spell as normal.
So 7 plus an 8. So to here you have 15.
That'll hit.
Yay!
Yay!
Go ahead and roll me damage.
Right.
Fuck up its day!
Fuck it up. Fuck it
Wait,
up.
wouldn't she have had an advantage on the attack roll because I'm flanking?
No, because she's actually still further away.
And also,
She's not in
does
melee
this thing really have a front?
It is in melee range with them. They are not in melee range with
Alright.
it.
So it takes 8 points of cold damage and is reduced by 10th of movement speed.
Okay.
Because I rolled max damage.
So
Nice.
based on the way cold damage works against it already, and the fact that it's already had some, so the entirety of its lower half is currently frozen. Its
Nice.
top half is still moving and it's still able to fight. However, its entire bottom half is frozen in place. Are you doing anything else?
Wait, are you still touching me?
He's not even
oh
technically
no.
touching. He's basically like shielding you from all the water from the storm.
That's probably why you didn't get hit.
I'm gonna because he's just behind me, so I'm gonna pat him on the chest and be like, yeah!
So yeah.
Woo!
So once again, you weave together the arcane magics and blast forth a ray which hits it.
Yeah,
its
finger
lower
blast him.
chest,
Pew pew!
which
Finger bang bang.
freezes it around.
That's
A
blast,
little
not
bit of the deck around it
It's
freezes
magic
as well,
blast,
based on
not
the
magic
fact that the
bang.
deck is actually fairly slick with rainwater. At which point, it is your turn.
Shatter the ice.
Cool.
As I'm gonna try and twat the rest of it to turn that to ice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Arse bitch.
Non-natural 20.
That'll hit.
$14 normal, 4 cold.
Just stacking that cold damage.
Cold.
Okay, so you swing through it, freezing up some of its side.
Awesome.
Its legs are starting to, again, melt out actually quite quickly. You don't think it's going to be moving in the next 6 seconds-ish, but it is melting relatively quickly. Are you doing anything else?
No.
Okay, Hoff.
I will strike it again with my rod of tentacle.
So 3 rolls, all at +9.
Okay, so that's a 19,
Yep.
an 18,
Yep,
and for
both
the
hit.
last one, a 17.
All 3 hit.
Nice.
So slowly going
Oh,
down.
which
in
means
number.
that it has to try not to be bound if such a thing is possible.
Okay, this particular one does not need to do that.
Thought so. Okay, so these are.
It still hits and like, but
Hang on, right, so these.
If it tries to get out of it, it would just go through it.
So, hang on, so the bonus damage. This
so
is
you've
an
got
attack
D6,
Yeah.
D8, and a D6 for the
on every
on every
hit.
one of these tentacles.
Okay. So
Fuck it up.
Because your Hunter's Mark applies for every attack made against it, and as far as I'm aware, so does the.
actually, no. I think Hunter's Mark may be the first attack. I think one of them is the first attack. I think we had this before.
Okay, from check because I don't remember off the top of my head.
It's
It's very hard to remember like
Yeah.
every spell.
Remember better. We need spell cards.
Yeah, I haven't brought them.
I know.
I think I've got a few too many RPG systems rolling around in my head to remember every spell.
Okay.
Just maybe.
Oh, shit, DM, man. God.
Yeah, you get Hunter's Mark. Till the spell ends, you deal D6 damage to the target whenever you hit with a weapon attack.
Well, yeah, there you go. So
Okay.
all of these have that.
And then Colossus
Colossus Slayer.
Slayer, that might be the one that's different.
Yeah, that might be one. Once on a action. I don't know.
Colossus
Once upon a
Colossus
dream.
Slayer. When you hit a creature with a weapon, let's see, where down the payment phase. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, the creature takes. Oh yeah, you may deal this once per turn.
Okay, so your Colossus
Cool.
Slayer only applies
Once per turn.
So functionally, you've got
Yeah.
66 and 1d8 for total for the 3 attacks.
Oh, is it D6 damage? I thought it was D8 damage.
For the tentacle roll, it's d6.
Oh, D6. Okay, cool. So D6 plus D6s plus a D8.
Yay!
I'm happy enough for you to give me all of this damage
Shit,
together
roll that
because it
one.
is
It's
all
cool. Yeah, yeah.
bludgeoning. So.
Is there any other
Okay.
bonuses on top of damage or just flat?
24.
24.
Whoopah!
So what happened to Leon?
And we don't know.
Hasn't turned up.
He was supposed to have turned up.
Yep, so all
Was
three
he,
of
was he
these
distracted by
tentacles-
something shiny walking out his flat? Ooh, shiny.
Possibly.
So based on the fact that it's unable to move as much as it normally would, all 3 tentacles slam into its watery form, not holding or finding purchase, but certainly impacting nonetheless. At which point we go back up to. Okay, so the ship is a little bit rockier again. Carson, it's your turn.
Right, so the legs are still frozen.
Currently, yes, they are in the process of thawing again, and it's relatively quick, but what you don't think it'll be moving for the next 6 seconds, basically.
Well, I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to draw my magical hand axe.
Fuck it up. Fuck it up.
And I'm
fuck
going
it
to move
up.
closer to it. Because, I have to.
For
Which is going to
liking.
provoke, isn't it? No?
It's only moving out.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Okay, then.
And for lanking.
Yeah.
Yep.
So first I've got to swing at it with the hand axe as my standard action.
Yep.
So let's see how that goes.
You've got advantage because flanking.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I said and flanking.
Ah, 3 more anyway. So 19 to hit.
Okay, that hits.
Hey. So this is
Damage.
slashing. Well, it's going to be slashing damage, but I'm not sure how much of it is going to class as
It's
magical.
also a
but-
magical weapon.
Yeah.
All of it classes as magical because it's a magical weapon.
Yes, mine was magical.
7
Mine's
points
yeah,
of
mine's
damage. Yeah, 7 points of damage.
You forgot about that bit, didn't you?
His magic fists.
And I don't have magic fists yet.
Not
Oh,
yet.
no,
He
yes.
doesn't yet.
Oh,
But I am
Yeah.
going to spend a point of key
yeah.
to snap my lead.
So,
Do have flurry of blows.
That's what Lizzie said, that you don't have magic fists.
Okay.
Which means I'm going to get 2 unarmed attacks.
You are. Yep.
I'm just going to casually ignore it. Screw it.
He's bigger than that.
So.
That's a good t-shirt. I saw on t-shirt.
Nice.
Double number wank!
So
We
quad
are
damage?
So each of your attacks, the rolled dice, either the number of dice you roll is doubled, or you can double what you roll on the dice. It's up to you which one.
And they have a small penis.
I'm going to double.
I also have a small
Yeah,
fist.
screw it. I will. I'll double the amount. I'll double my dice. Screw it. Right.
So you roll more dice.
Yeah. Second attack. See if that hits. Because advantage. That's still gonna hit. So, at least I'm pretty sure. 23.
We are all fun.
Yeah. Love
Yeah.
He's just rolled 4d20 total, none of which were below a 17.
Yeah, it's a luck singularity. Luck cannot escape him at the moment.
Does it double? Does it double the fixed damage, like the strength bonus? It's
Fixed
just the
damage
dice.
remains same, it's only rolled damage.
So 9 bludgeoning damage on the first attack, and 5 on the second.
Okay.
So it's like slash.
Okay.
Normal people would go fucking ow.
So
That hurts.
at this point,
And he just goes,
Oh, you dick! That really hurt.
No, it was cold.
it is going to wallop you. Oh yeah, can you also make me a dex save?
Oh.
is it on everyone, on every turn we have, will we roll a dex save? Unless
Only,
stated otherwise.
yeah, basically only when the ship is not steady, which currently it isn't totally steady, but it's not a disadvantage one.
21.
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm assuming a 10 doesn't hit you.
No.
And then
I can just imagine it now. It hits me, I die.
once again,
The
it's
end.
going to lash out at you for
Okay.
your frosty ray. Does an
Okay.
18 hit you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you are going to take 11 points of bludgeoning damage as one of these watery fists just swings and hits you fairly hard in the chest.
It's like, no, my life points.
Yeah.
Right, Kyber, calm down. Macaria, it is then your turn.
Fuck up, it's day.
I'm gonna. If I don't fail.
I believe in you.
Shut up, Mimsy.
You're an independent caster. You can do what you want.
Okay. No. Concentration check of 7. No.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't cast the spell.
Okay, then I'm going to spend the sorcery point and do quicken spell,
Okay.
which means I get a second spell as a bonus action, which is a cantrip, which is what Ray of Frost is. Try again.
Yeah, so if you make your con save again, please.
Better!
15.
Yep, that's fine. Make a
Yeah. So it's like, oh, I do it quickly.
And a 27 to hit.
Damn. Damn,
Yeah.
girl.
Oh.
No.
And 1 cold damage.
No.
Damn it. Damn it.
This is all your fault, man.
How
It's
is
all your fault.
how is that?
The
my
4 fucking rolls you had before, it's all your fault.
I'm not in control of my powers.
None of us all! None of us all!
Can I? Any points? Sorcerer points. I've got. Wait. So.
You can use sorcery points to affect your damage.
Yeah,
There is
an
a-
empowered spell. When you roll damage for a spell, you can spend 1 sorcery point to re-roll a number of damage dice up to your charisma modifier minimum of 1, but you must use a new roll. I shall use
it.
my
It
last.
can't exactly get lower than 1.
I shall use my last sorcery point. So 6 cold damage.
That's better.
So,
Fuck.
as you're casting the spell, it almost feels a little bit weak, but you
Yeah.
will more power into it. And
Bigger!
blast runs up the front of its main bulk, at which point the moving of the water very quickly stops as the whole thing freezes over and then falls apart and bits of ice scatter across the deck.
Yay!
You killed it.
You're out of initiative.
Oh, right.
Yay!
So, Captain shouts across where he's still kind of wrestling with the wheel up at the helm. Is that bloody thing done with?
Yep.
Well, it just fell to bits. So I guess.
You hear crickets chirping.
Oh.
Uh,
Before I fall to pieces. No.
Okay, bye.
Can we do perception checks to check there are no more out on the horizon?
yeah, you certainly can.
He's like, great, we dealt with one. There's another 7 over there.
1.
Yay! Salt in your eyes.
Are you sure?
I don't know if I can see anything.
Ah,
Is anything
I'm
real?
going to use a spell slot.
Oh.
Ooh.
Primeval Awareness. Because that tells me if there's any demons, elementals, undead.
What range of primeval awareness?
See, that's a cool spell.
It's a
It's a ranger ability.
it's a ranger ability which uses a spell slot.
I only took 13 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, my note
Offensive
was...
spell.
No, my notes was, I killed my first enemy, smelly face. But it wasn't...
Oh, no.
And I use the aid action on you rather than you on other people.
You got aided for once.
Primeval Awareness. For 1 minute per level of the spell slot expended. 1
minute?
mile.
1 mile. Fucking
I can
hell.
sense whether the following types of creatures are present within 1 mile, but doesn't reveal the location or the exact number. Or
It's
6
just yes or no.
or 6 miles if I'm in my favoured terrain, which I'm not.
Okay, so
Aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fays, fiends, and undead.
you don't get an exact number, but within a mile, there are definitely multiple elementals. But that's within a mile.
I'll look up to go. There are more of those things out there.
But say it doesn't reveal exact location, but it doesn't feel like they're
But they're out.
close.
But they're out there.
Yeah. Like, in addition to that, even though it's not a creature, you kind of feel something of almost an elemental presence from the storm itself. It's definitely it doesn't feel the same as a creature, but it's almost the same presence as an elemental. Almost like it's
magic
alive.
cast by them. Oh god.
Yeah, it's almost like the storm itself is alive. It's beyond anything that you've ever experienced.
This storm is far from natural.
Yes.
What should we do?
Well, you've all done a fine job,
I'm
but I
pointing down.
would probably suggest getting below deck.
That's a good idea. Right, I'm gonna
And if
put.
one of you can knock on Yargog's door, send him up.
Okay.
I give him a thumbs up, so because instead of shouting at him.
Okay. So, if everyone could give me a dex check as they're heading back below deck.
Don't fall on my
No,
face.
natural
Don't
20.
fall on my
You're
face.
fine.
Ooh.
You're fine.
At 10.
You're fine.
7.
You're not.
Hey!
You slip,
Yay!
The
you
natural
slip on some
order
of the
has
ice.
returned.
You actually slip on some of the ice and pretty much face plant the deck.
Come back to the flap.
I'm hoping the noise, the noise of the storm drowns out my.
Because I'm okay. As I'm walking past him, I'm going to pick up his leg and drag him to the stairs.
Fair. But yeah, otherwise you get to the edge with some of the slippery ice around. It actually is a little bit easier to drag him as well.
Yeah.
Hey,
Just steering him over the ice so that
I
it's
was
easier for
extra
me.
slippery because it's not necessarily
slippery.
just water that the water elementals are made of.
Extra
Apparently
slippery.
it's some ice as well.
Yeah.
So you get back below deck.
It's fish pee.
It was a yellow water elemental. So now that you're below deck, you can use the edges a little bit. Now that you're not rushing as much, to be able to steady yourself, you don't have to worry about falling over.
Head back down to see how the horses are doing.
Yeah. Once we're out, once we're in the sort of stairwell, I'm going to pick myself up.
What?
Yeah, while you're still dragging me, it's like, hey!
They'll just drop your leg.
Thank you.
As I carry on going down to go see the horses.
Oh, yeah, that's so.
Check on everything.
Yeah. It's a plan.
I'm gonna go knock on your gog's door since the captain said to.
Okay. So you go and knock on the door. Even at the door, you smell faint smell of smells kind of like rum. So you bang on the door, and there's a little bit of a crash, and the door sort of opens a little bit. And goes, what? It's in a storm, right? What?
Captain wants you.
Isn't he on deck?
Yes.
Oh, I know what he wants, and he shuts the door, and you hear loads and loads of a bit of banging and some rustling and such.
Bye! And then I walk off.
You definitely recognise the unmistakable look of joy in his face. You also smelt rum on his breath, but that seems like a fairly natural thing.
Rum, and bits of sick.
Does he even have blood?
No, it's just alcohol.
You haven't tested.
It's just pure alcohol.
As you're getting to the stairwell to go downstairs, you sort of hear a door slam, and you hear like running as you hear him running off. So you guys get down into the bowels of the ship first.
Are there any horses in the middle of the room, or in not great place? Because we did have one, that we had to slide
I think there
around.
was one that was poorly knotted up.
Yeah, which I'm pretty sure we did a good job of retying, but can't say for the rest of them. This is when it's just pandemonium. Horses are everywhere in every different direction. There's one up there.
Yeah, one hanging from the ceiling.
There's horses
Barefoot has somehow made it halfway up the wall, just attached to it.
Okay, so when you get down, roll me perception.
Ooh.
Everyone is obviously down first before.
That's pretty good. 17.
11.
Perception 12.
Okay. So you'll notice that one of the horses has shifted a little bit, and the rope is sort of loose and slack at its side, but it doesn't seem to have shifted too much.
Awesome.
It's good. I'll go calm it.
It's still
Still
asleep.
unconscious.
It's still magically
it's still
asleep.
asleep.
You've actually only been out of the bowels of the ship functionally for about 5 minutes.
So I'm gonna push the horse back to where it's meant to be. So
Okay,
straight.
so strength check. Yep. So no issues there at all.
24. Rolled a natural 20.
So I'm just like, that looks familiar. I did that.
And then you hold it in place.
Tied up.
Yes, of course. Survival
yes,
it
I'm
is.
it here because I want to.
13.
Can I aid him with that, seeing as I'm holding the fucking horse?
Essentially, you're holding it steady enough for him to do it,
Right.
but it's fine. So, 13's fine. So it feels secure, and you don't think there's any issues with the tying this time.
I give it a tug with my strength just to check.
Seems fairly taut.
You're good.
At which point, once you sort of finish tying it up, and once you finish going across, checking that all of the horses are sort of secure, you get back down to the bows, and you find them just checking the horses, getting them tied off and such.
They're good. This one shifted slightly.
I'm good. I'm going to get back to my bunk.
Barefoot sort of drooling out the side of his mouth.
He'll be fine.
He's good.
You definitely enjoyed that little steak.
I find a comfy corner so I can watch the horses and read my book.
Okay.
Gotta sit and wait.
After 2 or 3 minutes, you start to hear a faint banging on the side of the ship.
Y'all just go up there. I'm gonna guess it's him.
It's like, hey, the horses are trying to sleep.
Yeah.
Just bang back. Shut up.
You don't really get much response. You sort of can't really hear much other than sort of lashing of the rain and the banging. Every now and then, as the ship sort of dips forward or backwards, the banging sort of shifts sideways a little bit, almost like the centre of gravity of wherever the banging is.
It's not the horses kicking the hull, is it?
No, it's coming from outside the ship.
It's Yargov fixing the ship.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, modifying it for all we know.
Or
He's doing something. He's doing something to the ship.
Hitching it up to loads of sea turtles to.
You sort of
the hair from his back.
Those of you that were involved in some of the conversations in the pub vaguely remember something about Yargov being batshit nuts and always drunk, and the fact that one of the reasons he's on this ship is because he gets to do mad things like fix a ship in the middle of a storm. It's happened before, not often, but a couple
He
of
enjoys
times.
it.
And every time he seems to delight in this sadistically psychotic glee. Otherwise, he's largely useless. He can't swing a sword to save his life, and he can't win a fucking arm wrestle for love nor money. He can fix a ship in any fucking weather.
Oh, he's happy though, isn't he?
He's a specialist.
Yeah.
Something off, yeah.
Or just special. Either one works.
But if everyone can roll me a con save.
Ooh.
Now that sort of the adrenaline of battle
Am I going to
and
throw up
combat-
again?
That's
Probably
exciting.
with a 5.
We don't add our stats to the saves, do we?
So to the
Oh,
saves,
Can't save it.
you get the...
Oh, we do get.
you get the
you get
modifier.
whatever the stat modifier is.
Oh.
If you are proficient in that save,
You
you
get-
also get proficiency.
Oh right, so it's both. Okay.
13.
10.
11.
Okay, you three are okay. Again, sort of, it feels a little bit sort of not amazing, but you're okay.
I'm trying to.
Now that the adrenaline sort of died off a bit, you sort of
Oh god.
like, again,
No.
and you chanda.
Everyone.
I'm just hugging a
Everyone.
bucket. Fuck it, I'm just hugging a bucket. Like, no.
Yeah, I'm gonna look forward to land when we get back to land.
After another sort of couple of hours, the shifting, rocking, and the effect of the waves seems to lessen somewhat, and it doesn't feel quite as rough, and things sort of die down a little bit, and you still feel a bit rough, and you definitely think you're going to need to properly sleep it off.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm fucked. I need to properly sleep.
You're not feeling like you need to flat out puke, right? But otherwise, it's getting progressively better, and things are easing off. After a time, after sort of about an hour, the banging on the side of the ship stops, and other than the lashing of the rain, not much more is heard there. Another couple of hours goes by, sort of keeping awake, making sure nothing else happens, and the first mate comes down, checks. Is everyone alright?
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Yeah, I think we were largely okay.
Throughout the hours, bruises have properly formed all over me. Like,
I've been up to see the captain since it's calmed down. Things are still a little bit rough, but we're through the worst of what we should be dealing with. He sent me down to both apologise and thank you all for your help with that particular issue. He himself admits he's not sure that the rest of us could have dealt with it quite so effectively.
still hugging my bucket, like, so good.
He has sent some payment for you all for thank you. As strictly speaking, while obviously you are still being paid to look after the caravan, that does feel a little bit above and beyond. And she holds out a sack of gold.
Thank you.
Again, still hugging. We appreciate the generosity.
Yeah, so, well, you know, we still did what we felt we had to do. So, thank you.
It's much appreciated, and I think the judging by the reaction of some of the crew, they're fairly appreciative of what you've all done as well.
Is it safe to go on deck yet?
Probably best not to be up on deck, but if you want to get your heads down for some rest, it might be worth going back to rooms maybe.
Okay.
Might be an idea.
If anyone needs to keep an eye, I'm not sure obviously how the horses have been, but if anyone needs to keep an eye on them, again, you're welcome to do so, but I wouldn't know much more.
I'm gonna nudge Barefoot and try and wake him now that the worst is done. Yeah, no, that's not gonna
Yeah,
work.
he'd be like that for a while.
How much
Worth
money
trying.
did we get?
She's just giving you a sack of 1,000 gold.
Damn!
Hey, we're all gonna get laid.
Wait, what? What are you talking about? What was? Where's the pressure, man?
Okay.
Based on like any knowledge that you guys would have, you have the feeling ships are probably quite expensive, and reducing damage to a ship is probably quite a good thing. And even with your own shipwright, heavy damage would still be expensive.
Cool.
I've added it to group money.
Awesome.
Yes, I'm gonna go up. I don't care about the state of the room. I don't care if shit's all over the place. I'm going up there. I'm finding my bed. If it's overturned, I am putting it right and going to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some sleep. Let's get them spell slots back.
Yeah. Well, because it's eased off and it's not as rough, then I'm gonna hit the sack as well.
Okay.
I'm gonna hit it. And I won't break it.
So, all of you got to your rooms. The beds are sort of not prettily nailed down, but they're relatively well nailed down in your room.
Oh wait, didn't you didn't nail down all the bits of paper, did you? In her
Oh
room?
yeah, no, I did that room.
Oh yeah, but the roll wasn't as good for the.
Oh yeah, wasn't as good. Yeah.
For the nailing beds
Maybe
down.
picked up all of the paperwork and put it in the drawers.
So
yeah,
your-
that's right.
Your beds haven't shifted. Obvious blocks of wood showing that it's been nailed down. But yeah, beds haven't shifted. There's a few of the smaller things, a couple of random things that have. No, there's a couple of unlit candles that have been knocked out of a couple of the wall sconces and such. There's a few bits of clothing that have been scattered and such. Nothing particularly horrific. With your room, the beds have been upended. Nothing seems damaged, but beds are upended. The chest that you put the papers in has also been upended, and the papers are scattered. But other than some crumpled and a few rips and a few of the bits of paper, there's nothing severe.
Do you want me to roll a strength check to sort out the beds?
Yeah, it's basically rudimentary to make sure you don't cock it up, pretty much.
No, not
Non-natural
rips in the
20.
paper.
Yeah, fine.
Fix the beds.
Yeah, you
Fix the
basically
chest.
you right the beds, shove the blankets back on the top of them, turn the chest back over, get in your bed, and just
No. Don't care sleeping.
So most of your paper is largely okay, just crumpled. There's a couple of spots of damp on a couple of them.
Vegetation.
Yeah. Again, not, you
Diddly-diddly-diddly-diddly.
just sort of dry off a couple of the ones that have got a bit of wet. There's nothing serious. One or two rips here and there, but again, it's not like anything irretrievable. It's all still readable, and you can copy it down onto other paper.
The magical finger hairdryer.
So how does gaining hit points back when you sleep?
So, for the purposes of a rest, I believe you gain. I actually think you gain 4 hit points back on a rest.
On a long rest, yeah.
But you only gain half your hit die back each time you long rest.
Oh, yeah, but I
don't
haven't
think
used any
yeah,
of
I
them.
don't
Yeah, we
think you
haven't
guys have
spent-
actually used them.
No.
So
No.
currently, that's not actually an issue.
But yeah, no, I'm under the same impression.
long rest has to be 8 hours. Regain all hit points, half of max hit die, all spell slots. There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys are absolutely fine. So you guys get all your hit points back, all your spell slots, everything's tickety boo. Based on the idea of how physiology and biology works, you still have a few bruises and you feel a little bit tender, but there's no actual ill effects from that.
Yeah.
Cool. Lucy, I should have a question.
No, I'm just. So, my total hit points is 32. I'm currently on 17.
Yeah, so you go back to full. So that's fine.
It's fine.
So we are rested.
So, after your rest, the next day is still, dark clouds, a little bit choppy but not horrific. But next sort of 2, even 3 days still are a little bit rougher than calm. But it largely, other than that, goes by uneventfully. The crew, based on what you've done, despite the fact that the captain did reward you, they are a bit friendlier towards all of you based on what you did.
Yay!
Every time you do your sort of ridiculous numbers of question at speed, they still sort of find an excuse to walk away at that point.
I don't do that anymore.
Okay.
Not to them.
So
No.
if you don't do that, so they're generally quite polite. They're
not trying to avoid me anymore.
not as such. I mean,
Good.
they don't make more effort to come and speak to you than they would have necessarily done. But again, they seem a little bit less wary and a little bit less uncomfortable just being sort of around you. They seem.
I'm gonna stop hiding in my room and go back to my spot on deck then.
Yeah, they seem generally to be less sort of offended towards you generally. More sort of, maybe not so bad. Maybe you're just one of these,
Weird
not
ones.
wise city folk. So they take you a little bit more sort of almost at face value to a degree.
Acceptance.
Hooray.
But yeah, sort of camaraderie on the ship generally goes quite well. The horses seem none the worse for wear. You did a fairly good job of making sure they were looked after, calm and not stressed.
Yeah, they're like, the fuck happened? So I don't know, went to sleep. Alright.
But the next...
Beckett wakes up and it's
pretty
like
much-
he's got a bit of drool right here.
Pretty much the next 3 weeks go by without sort of any real event at all, other than day to day, looking after the odd spot of rain or slightly stronger winds.
Still trying to subtly pick up the captain.
You.
What?
Just like.
It's like, hey, no, this is my machine.
Roll me a charisma check.
Vagine.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Makes it sound more elegant.
17.
Classy.
Okay.
What? Not the JJ.
No, not the commoner stuff.
So, one of the things that you notice that they do every now and then while they're on the ship is they bring up
Clam.
like a fire pit of sorts that's made of metal so that it won't damage the deck. And they bring a fire pit up on deck when it's nice and calm and quite a clear night. And they light it and they sit around eating food, roasting food on fire and such. And they just have a night of
Yay.
letting the ship just
Revelry.
and they have a fairly enjoyable night. And this one particular night, you're getting pretty sort of close with him, and
Is there such thing as a vag block?
Don't you?
Clam jam.
Yeah,
Clam jam. That's
Yeah.
oh
Don't
nice.
you
Clam
fucking
jam.
dare.
there is such thing.
Clam jam. Yeah, but I didn't know what
Clam
was
jam.
Yeah, clam jam. Nice.
And you're both having a few drinks. Everyone's having a few drinks and enjoying their evening. and you happen to really turn on the charm this particular evening,
Yes.
and he offers for you to come back to his cabin for the evening.
Yes! Boning the captain. Don't worry, you don't have to go into detail. Unless you want me to roll cons.
And you find in an accident he's got a wooden cock. He's got a peg cock.
That's the reason they call him Pegleg.
Perfect in every way
You're
except
gonna
his
get such
member.
weird splinters.
Got to polish it every night.
So I won't be going into great detail, but
We had some fun.
But boning happens.
he is confident
Pirate
and
Paul.
gentlemanly, but he is certainly every bit the stud you expect him to be.
Hang on.
He's an effective and yet he's an affectionate yet he's
An affectionate
a powerful yet considerate lover.
So then you've definitely got to see his glistening member. Oh, sort of the one. What's on the Burke always says? Oh, he's a quivering member.
Quivering member. and she unlaced his breeches and heft out his quivering member.
Yeah.
Something about her moist waiting mound or something? I don't know. Tickled him.
Her bearded landowner.
For those of you who don't know, co-writers of 50 Shades of Grey. No?
So yeah,
Awesome.
but otherwise, other than
Yes,
the
there
boning,
is a porn version
Okay.
of Pirates of the Caribbean.
I just want to have.
Naturally.
Because that night, Cass is not going to come back, so I'm going to get really worried. So I'm going to knock on their door and ask if they've seen her. But that's about the only thing that I do. I'm like, I don't know where she is. She disappeared.
Oh, where did you see her last?
She was on the top, chatting with everyone.
both of you can roll me a perception check based on the night of how it went.
15?
Yeah. Brett, can you roll me a perception?
8.
Okay, and you can roll me an insight.
Ooh. Oh no. 13?
You know exactly where she is and what she's doing. Or who, I should say.
So it's just like,
Do you think she's in danger?
She's certainly being impaled.
maybe. Depends.
What if something is attacking her?
Well, from the stories I've heard of the captain, I don't know, maybe. Last I saw, she went off with the captain,
Oh, that's
possibly
nice.
back to his cabin.
That's nice.
They could be getting up to anything in there.
I'm sure they're having a lively discussion.
Yeah. Yeah, half.
The simple
Help me out here.
parry and riposte of intelligent banter and debate.
I'm sure he's a really cunning linguist.
What do you think they could be getting up to in
Yes,
the
yes, he
cabin?
Oh, probably fucking.
Oh!
Yes, yeah.
Oh, there we
That's
go.
what happens.
As long as she's safe, I'm gonna go. Bye bye.
Danger sense on the ring. Sorry, couldn't help it. Kind of an in-joke, I apologise.
Kind of makes me worried. Do you think she's safe?
I've already left.
So,
Not my business.
I'm sure she's fine. She's certainly, well, she can deal with any situation, I'm sure.
Exactly.
I'm just worried that
So-
I'm going to wear out and eat him.
What date was that?
okay.
No, for my notes.
Why have you been keeping track of a cycle?
Let's say that's a week and 2 days after the elemental fight.
So, 8 days after the 18th. So it's the. What's 18 plus 8?
This is the
20
tale.
26? Yeah.
26.
Thank you.
Yes.
Firing so brave.
Other than that evening, the next morning you are positively glowing
You.
with, positivity.
Uh,
Post-coital bliss.
Game.
Not
Not shame. No walk of shame. A stride of pride.
Stride of pride. Oh yeah.
Mate, that's not a filthy deckhand. That's the captain. Either way, 3 weeks since the elemental fight go past. If you're going to get really specific, 2 weeks and 6 days.
2 weeks and 6 days.
Right.
So 20 days exactly.
20 days exactly. There are 30 days in Norgram. 18 days. Right. 8 plus 8. No.
That's not on top of the sex days.
No, so it's 20 minus 9, so that's 11 days after this.
Okay, so 11 days after that, take off 4 for the end of Norgram. So that is 7. So that means I am on the 7th of. Check what?
Decemberary.
No,
And
it's
Desarian.
Sorry.
Okay, so we're on.
Decerian.
Sorry, 'cause I can't even remember my own made-up months that are basically.
I know, because this is my birth month.
I was just looking up. So Desarian is 7th. Okay.
But on the bright morning of Desarian 7th, it's probably actually the brightest it's been for a few days, and it's almost cloudless. And you can see the coastline of what you're going to assume is probably Montai.
Hooray!
So everyone's like, yay, land! I'm like, oh.
It's been that long already. I thought the journey was going to take a good couple of months.
Can take up to, depending on winds and such.
Elementals. Dragons.
Yeah, we've definitely been blown further.
And there's someone that's been blown.
Yeah, my mind.
Not you.
Through the course of discussion with some of the crew, and particularly the first mate, you've actually gleaned that the cut through the storm ended up helping speed you along, because the magical nature of the storm has been known to destroy ships. However, the prevailing wind happened to be with you during that storm.
Awesome.
And based
Also,
on how
people
powerful,
would probably normally go around it to add extra time to their journey, but because we cut through, we cut time from our journey originally, and the extra winds helped push us faster as well.
based on how magically powerful the winds are, you couldn't begin to guess how much quicker the ship was going during that, which is also probably one of the reasons it was such a rough crossing.
Makes sense.
How many nights did I actually spend in my cabin with a bad night's sleep?
They became less frequent after the storm.
Tired of you.
But the nights in the cabin, probably about 60%. So not all of them, but quite a lot of nights were a bit sort of iffy and uncomfortable.
What can go wrong?
Absolutely nothing.
But coming up to the coast of Montai, and the ship sails in a bit closer to it and then starts following it along. It does seem to need to go a bit further south. The actual journey down the coast takes probably another day from the point you've gotten to, but based on where you are, you're not all the way north. It's like you're not at the very north end of the continent, but where you've come to.
So we were maybe around this point.
Yeah, that's
And then
probably
we have to travel down.
yeah, it's probably a good estimate. And then you have to obviously travel south towards where the actual harbour is. So that ends up the very day after that. About midday is when you actually come into port.
Oh. Right.
Land.
A strange new land.
So, Aki Harbour is very different to what Port Saltwash was like. Aki Harbour is a little bit more rural. A lot of the docks and such have a lot of bamboo and such used to help steady and firm things. There's a lot of different types of wood used to what were on the piers and of course Saltwash. A lot of the buildings are more kind of what you'd have expected in an older, probably Chinese harbour. So it's not as industrious, and it looks a lot like there's a few farmhands around, and it seems like a lot less in the way of pollutant type things going on. As the ship pulls up and docks, the captain has the plank put out, and he heads down, and what looks like one of the, you'd guess, port officials comes across to him. They're in what looks like fairly simple sort of hempen clothing with your very stereotypical Asian reed hat. And he exchanges a few words, passes him a little bit of gold, you assume docking fees and such, talks for a few minutes with him, and then comes back up the gangplank to the ship. During sort of the beginning of the day, the caravan drivers and such have been just preparing everything ready and getting everything ready to be moved back up. And the captain comes along to you guys and says, well, so we shouldn't have any worries. Apparently, rumour has it the slavers have moved on towards the far continents. So they have moved on. Sorry, 1 second. Again, forgetting all my names. Apparently they've moved on towards Edinburgh. So they'll be right the other side for probably the next few months easily. Our instructions, as per your writ of passage, are to wait a month if we don't hear anything, and then we go about our business as usual. If you no longer feel you need our services within that time, you can send us a messenger, and we will know not to expect you. If you require us to wait a bit longer for a return journey, then again send us a messenger and we can wait a bit longer. Sorry. Yeah, we can certainly wait a bit longer for you. We'll help you unload everything. The caravan drivers know where they're going. Siltai is not actually too far from here, really. It is. Yeah, it's only a 2-day journey from this harbour, which is pretty good. Well, with your horses and carriages, of course. So I hear you guys have got all your provisions and such for the road.
Yep.
Might suggest picking up a few fresh supplies just for the couple of days, but otherwise I hope the journey hasn't been too stressful for you.
Been perfectly pleasant.
Glad to hear that, love.
Thank you for your company, Captain. We look forward to seeing you again.
Yes. Thank you, Captain. Much obliged.
You've been most gracious guests. Well, passengers, I should say. And I do very much appreciate the help that you've given us. And I mean that sincerely.
Our pleasure.
Sorry, Cassus question.
Mm-hmm.
You said the slavers moved to where? Sorry.
The other
So
side.
they've moved more
Yeah,
towards the
well.
continent of Edifal.
Away.
Right. Anyway, let's start. I'll start supervising the unloading.
So as sort of the end of the conversation is coming up, something stumbles into the back of you, and you get Yarghog just ends up. Oh, I'm gonna miss you guys.
Is he just hugging him?
Yeah,
He just lashed up to me.
and then hugged him. Like, I'm gonna miss you guys.
I'm gonna pat him on the arm and be like, Carson will miss you the most. I will also miss you.
Oh, glad to hear that, love. And he gives you a tap on the cheek. Nothing painful,
Yeah.
but
like,
I'm glad to hear that as well.
I go for an, full proper shake. I'm guessing it gets pulled into a hug, and I'm like,
No, he misses and stumbles forward a little bit.
I hope the repairs I helped with hold.
Oh, I'm sure they'll be alright. You guys are enough. Come back any time. He sort of stumbles off down the gangplank and off down the pier. Captain sort of looks around from as he was about to walk up and say, "Don't worry, it's fairly normal here."
What's the terrain like from here to our destination?
So I don't believe you guys obviously have been here before, have you?
No, I haven't.
No.
So the city of Siltai's got a very it's got a very pilgrimage type.
A temple city.
Almost, yeah. It's they believe in an honest day's work, and hard work is its own rewards. You know, look after folk. You know, the more you do for others, the more that you get spiritually and such. A good few miles out from the city of Siltai itself, there's just rice paddies for miles, and over the day you'll see a lot of folks working it as part of pilgrimages, as generally making sure they've got enough supplies and such. Before that, there's a lot of mostly fairly open plains, a few rolling hills. Not a lot in the way of forests up this kind of area.
Mm-hmm.
Down a bit further south you'll probably find more. But yes, it's none too stressful. It's a bit open. You don't tend to find a lot in the way of bandit attacks and such, and you don't actually tend to find as much of that type of thing going on, just because Emperor or Empress's rule is, well, it's the only continent that's technically united. So.
Excellent.
I remember we had a session where Cassus was chatting to us all about Montai. I'm just gonna look back from my
It
notes.
was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was a little while.
To be fair though, largely quite a nice place, provided you don't obviously upset folks.
Well, we certainly don't intend to do that.
A lot less your typical arcane things going on, and a lot more divine type stuff. Given they've got a bit more religious focus here, more towards Bahamut, the dragon god. Personally, not my way, but I certainly have respect for those. I've seen what some of them can do, and it's mighty scary at times.
Oh, I found it.
Any different style of laws we should know about?
Yeah, if you got to be careful about upsetting people. Not in the sense of not buying their goods, but you gotta try not to slight their honour, so to speak, because they're very big on that here. And any slight on someone's honour can result in honour duels and such, and depending on the severity. I mean, a small slight on the honour might just be an insult on your house or whatever. But if you seriously impugn someone's honour, you might be brought forward for a duel of honour to defend theirs or yours or whatever the case is. It's just be careful what you say. I'd definitely be careful about asking the wrong type of questions, because the wrong type of question could offend someone. He does actually look at you a little bit as you're saying.
So what? I don't know what you're talking about. No.
A lot of the more common folk are probably a bit more likely to pass things off, but anyone who looks kind of official, just be a little bit careful what you say to them.
Understood.
Alright.
Right, well, when everything is unloaded, I'll hitch my dog cart up and get ready to hit the road.
I have a little something for you guys as well. Just a little thank you for me personally, not just as a reward. And he holds out a compass to you that's for reference. It's not magical, and it is just a normal compass. But it's I've got a couple of these. We tend to keep a couple on the ship for things, but this one I've had a bit longer than most, and I'd like you guys to have it just
Thank you.
as a
thank
token
you
of
very much.
personal gratitude.
I'll hold it. I'm gonna wait till he leaves. I'll hold it for a second.
Yeah. Either way, once everything's unloaded, safe journey to you. Hopefully your delivery isn't too fraught with peril, so to speak. You know, there may not usually be bandit attacks, but I can't necessarily say definitely what will happen to you. So. And yeah, and he sort of tips his hat politely, gives you another wink and wanders off.
Okay.
We'll be in touch.
Bye. Who is very good in the wilderness? I look at you guys.
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
But I think your magic allows you to magically point north, like mine.
Just think. Maybe I'm in
I know nothing about
forest terrain is my specialty, but yes, I'm not
Our
bad.
magic will allow us to find north, whereas
I am
Carstens
terrible
won't.
at that.
I felt
Maybe not, but I'm still well versed in travelling.
No, but it means it will let you point a direction, whereas me and Hoff can find north magically.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Especially since you said you're going to take up hunting more.
That's true. I wonder if I can kill something with a compass.
No,
No, stupid.
Dare.
Yeah, this will help me.
If
You
it
think
does,
it would be a very
if it does,
poor-
if it does break it, I can probably fix it. I can go at fixing it.
Hang on. Hello!
Oh, hey Louis man, how's it going, bud?
Hola.
But we're doing good, thank you very much.
Cassus. So I've had a quick look, and so I'm on page 22 of my notes, right? Page 11, exactly half my notes ago, was when you gave me my task for my patron. I'm not very good at pronouncing things, so it's
Tokachi. So it's Tokachi.
Yeah, Merlan.
It's very Japanese.
Chi.
After everything's said done, I'm like, if you break that, I will break
And
you.
then I have to find a.
I was joking.
So
I
Diam-
don't intend to misuse
his
you for
position
this
is
equipment.
he is a daimyo, and his
Daimyo.
name is Tokachi. So he is no. Was it the daimyo of Tokachi? Or
I've
was his name?
got Diamyo.
A daimyo.
Yeah, daimyo.
Dime.
Think the word dime like the American coin, and then yo.
Okay.
Well, think of a dime bar.
Okay,
Or
Daimyo.
dime bar. Yeah.
Okay, and that's his position. So this
Yeah,
was a while ago we discussed
yeah,
it.
the-
So
Yeah. So if it was the daimyo of Tokachi, I'm having a bit of a blank because I've been a little while.
I'm there looking through stuff, and I'm like, why would I? And then I just thought, why would I have notes? I know nothing.
it's just me. You should take notes. You have notebooks.
Yes. So yeah, he is the daimyo of Tokachi. So Tokachi is a province.
Yes. So
Obvious.
Daimyo means like a general or something, isn't he?
Basically, he runs that province as almost the voice of the empress in that province. It's like a regent or a steward functionally. They run it, and they still receive orders or receive their power from the emperor or empress at the time.
Okay.
But because the empress or emperor cannot be in every province at once, even though it is a united continent, it's split up into different provinces to make ruling easier.
Yes. Okay. Now I do remember from that. That's fine. I have written it down.
It's very Asian.
One person can only have so many followers.
But I don't apologise. I love Asian culture. Fuck it.
Okay. So we get on our horses.
Weeb.
Watch out for the weedmobile. So, it takes about an hour for all the carts and such to get unloaded, all the horses to come up. The horses, especially thanks in part to the way you guys managed to keep them calm during the storm, the horses aren't any worse for wear. They're not more stressed. They're not any more jittery than you'd expect a horse to be. Actually, they're a bit calmer, and especially now that they're used to you guys a bit more, coming in and out and such, they're not too bad. The one of the drivers does sort of say to you guys, since they've been in the hold of a ship for the better part of a month, they might be a little bit
Lame.
a little bit lame. So we don't want to push them too hard too quickly.
We'll take it easy. We'll take it easy until they've got their strength back.
They should be okay to be ridden and to obviously pull the carts and such at a reasonable pace. As long as we don't push them, they should be okay. Barefoot obviously is flitting around doing bits. He goes, I'm feeling much better now. I think we should get on our way. I definitely am quite glad to be off that wooden box. Who's ready for some good old fashioned riding and driving?
I'm looking forward to exploring.
Yeah, let's hit the road like old times.
So, as everyone's sort of getting mounted up and everything, Old Man Gal is there getting mounted up and such as well. And he sort of says to you, he doesn't say it particularly quietly, he says it reasonably conversational tone, but unfortunately I will be parting ways with you here. My agreement with Gartak was for passage essentially here, and he has graciously allowed me to take the horse. I will be going down south towards Shanxi.
Okay. Will you be joining us potentially back on the boat in roughly a month's time?
To be honest, unlikely. All my business at the moment is in Shanxi. But I mean, if you are that way, at any point during your time here, maybe try and look me up.
I understand. As much as I would prefer it not to be so, but well, I hope that your journey. Oh shit! I had a better way of wording it in my head.
Sounds like he's got some daddy issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, well, I hope your journey is safe and uneventful.
And you yours. He sort of holds his arm out.
Yeah, so I get the grip. Yeah.
He sort of
It was
nods.
nice to meet you.
And yourselves. For reference, because I know you'll probably be interested, Shanxi is spelled Shanxi.
I looked it up on the map.
Clever girl.
I could just not tell you my notes and keep them all for myself.
Yeah, she just knows all the plots. We're just like, fuck it, let's just go.
No, that's when I go, what do we need to do, Merlan? Come on, Merlan, remember what happened last session.
Yeah, so as we're getting ready to go, I'm like...
So on the ship, a few of the crew, including the first mate and the captain, are up on deck, and they give you a bit of a.
But yeah, as I'm
See
leaving,
off.
I'm gonna hug the cabin boy.
He sort of and runs off to go and probably be told that he's a boy and he should be doing what he's told.
Boy.
Boy.
So you start to ride away from the ship. What do you do?
Yeah, so we know that we need to go to Sultai.
Mm-hmm.
So surely we should follow the road to there.
We should. No, we
Smile
should.
and
But,
wave at all the peasants in the village as we go through, the harbour as we go through.
Put all my shit back on.
but I'm going to keep an eye out, for some stalls or a shop,
Fresh food.
fresh supplies.
Okay.
As I'm the ranger, shall I range ahead?
Don't go too far because we're going to do a little bit of shopping as we're
Okay.
going.
Alright, okay.
So you start to head sort of away from
Souvenirs!
the main sort of piers and things, and
He needs a souvenir.
Oh yeah, I need a souvenir, but
you go
surprise.
past a few of the odd buildings here and there. None of them seem to be necessarily officially marked, but after a little while going past a few of the buildings, they're scattered. There's the odd sort of garden that's fenced off here and there, and you get a little bit further out towards the edge, and you find a couple of farms. And on the edges of the farms are a couple of fairly large sort of farmers market type stalls. There's someone in one of the growing patches next to it, sort of tending to some things, pulling up some weeds and such. And on the other farm side, there's no stall set up, but again, there's someone sort of working with a couple of the animals in one of the paddocks there.
Can I have a look at the stall?
Okay, so do you stay on the horse or do you get off?
I'm going to get off.
Okay, so you get down off the horse and you wander over to the stall. Okay, yeah. So the person who's sort of tending the field notices you. Sort of wipes his hands off. He's wearing a sort of fairly dirt covered top made of some kind of plain cloth of some kind. Sort of a fairly basic beige colour. And he takes his hat off, wipes his brow a little bit, getting dirt across it in the process. and walks over to you guys, taking off a big set of gloves. Says,
Put my hood down.
"Hello, how can I help today?"
Just wanting to praise your wares.
Okay, we have some basic fruit and vegetables. We have a little bit in the way of milk and cheese spare.
Cheese will definitely be good to keep.
We don't currently have any meat. A little bit out of season at the moment.
That's fine.
But so we can certainly provide you with some of the other things. Water wouldn't be a problem if you need any, although obviously it's not highly priced, of course. We do have rice available.
That'll definitely be good. To have with meals.
Yeah. So some rice, some apples.
Some general fruit and veg, to go with it. We're heading up to Siltai, so that's a good couple of day journey as far as I'm aware.
So you probably want a sack worth of rice and maybe half a sack of vegetables.
That seems fair.
That should tide. Sort of looks over. That should largely tide you over until you get there. Obviously, Siltai will probably have a few more wares than we do, but
no, of course,
it's certainly something, of course.
It's something obviously to keep our supplies up. We do have some obviously fairly standard provisions, but you can't beat decent food.
No, of course. Feel free to have a look and see what vegetables and fruits and such you'd like. If you'd like to take a few more fruit and vegetables, then I'm certainly happy to sell.
I'm taking a couple of apples for myself.
I mean, are there any unusual fruits and vegetables that something that we wouldn't necessarily have seen?
Well, rice would be quite exotic for us.
Rice.
In Europe, all over the world, you get you get sort of varieties of rice that grow wild, but this will be the white cultivated rice which we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Rice is fairly uncommon on the central continent. It is still around, but it's one of those things that's quite rare and it's usually imported. So it's quite a rare thing to find.
I've probably had it once.
There's a couple of gourds, which is a little bit unusual as far as you're concerned. With the unusual shapes to them.
Yeah.
They have some kiwis as well.
Fuck are those?
Something that you've actually not come across previously because they're.
So I'm going to do the uncouth and unknowing thing of when you eat a kiwi you're meant to not eat the skin, but because we're not used to it we don't know. I'm actually going to try it with the skin.
And plus, I'm actively looking out for new foods. And plus, I'm actively looking out for new foods, to experiment and cook, and possibly cook with. So, and the ones that I'm not so familiar with, I'll get a few bits, but not.
They actually do have some bundles of bamboo shoots, which is kind of odd, which is something you've not seen before.
Yeah, I kind of look at it to go, is that edible?
Yes. It's quite difficult to make it quite nice to eat, but it is something that occasionally people do decide to add into various meals and things.
Sorry, this is our first time here, so.
Of course.
Trying to get.
Well, I'm certainly happy for you to try some of these. I would recommend not eating those with the skin. The skin isn't supposed to be eaten.
Oh, okay.
But the insides are actually quite nice. I do have something not normally available, which I could offer you a couple of, but it's not something that comes up very often. I do have 3 bananas.
Bananas.
So he just one moment. He sort of gives almost a bow for a moment as he
wanders
away.
off. I'm like, what the hell is a banana?
And
I'm not sure.
He steps. A couple of moments go past, and he comes back out of the front of his farm building, and he's got some curved yellow things.
They're like large. They're in a bunch like berries or grapes.
Large berries, maybe. Yeah.
This is what I would be willing to part with as spare. I have. They're quite rare. They're quite a nice sweet treat. They can be eaten. Well, you take this outer peel off, and you eat essentially what amounts to a large seed on the inside. It's very sweet. It's very tasty. It can be eaten as that. It can also be cooked into things, or put with various other fruits, and that's another way to eat them.
When you say seed, is it hard on the inside, like crunchy?
It's quite soft.
Boring fact. As little as 200 years ago, bananas looked nothing like the ones we have today.
Yeah.
They were smaller and they were full of fairly large, hard seeds.
Yeah. It's been cultivated.
So that stupid argument that some anti-evolutionary people make about how the banana must have been invented by God because we can peel it and it's sweet and it fits in our hand perfectly. That's all us, baby.
Another fun fact: the long, sticky, outy bit that comes from the stem, that's not the bit you're supposed to open it by. That's what you're supposed to hold it by.
Yeah.
You're supposed to squeeze the other end.
And also,
I did not know
another
that.
useless fact. Have you noticed how banana-flavoured things don't taste like bananas?
Yep.
Yes.
It's weird, eh?
No, the reason is because the banana flavour came from an older variety of banana that no longer exists. Because of the way that bananas are cultivated, because they make them seedless, they can't plant them, so they get new plants by grafting, by taking cuttings off of trees to make more trees. That meant that they didn't develop. They weren't actually evolving and didn't develop immunity to certain diseases, and a fungus wiped out all of one kind of banana.
Mind blown.
Yeah.
So you can eat it with various foods. Another thing that can be done with it, which is a little bit unorthodox, but rather refreshing nonetheless, is I have known a few people to mix it with, or to mash it up and mix it in with milk to make a flavoured beverage, which apparently is quite nice. I haven't tried it myself, but I've actually been intending to this winter.
Well, that's definitely a few ideas. No, thank you very much.
And I'm just there like...
Although apparently it should be shaken quite a lot once it's mixed in. But
Carson, how much money do you need?
No, but yes, if you're happy to let them go, we'll certainly take them.
How much for the half bag of rice, the...
he brings up the full bag of rice, and he brings up
the half bag of veg, some water.
Yeah, and he brings up the sack, and you put whatever veg that you decide to take in, and whatever fruit and such as well.
Kiwis, apples.
Yeah, a few extra bits.
Gourd. Fucking, why not?
So for all of this, including the bananas, that would be 5 silver.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't doesn't even need to go out of the group funds. I'll happily pay for that.
No, but that...
But I'm sorry, are you?
You sure?
Yes, of course. That's fairly standard rate.
Silver. Can't do it.
What are you
Go on,
doing?
do the maths. Did we not have any silver?
No, we do. That's fine. I give you 5 silver. I just have to sort my maths out. 10 silver and a gold.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Well, what I'm going to do is...
I'm guessing, based on the fact this is your first time to Montai, things are a little bit more expensive back where you come from.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Locally, a lot of this food is cultivated and grown and such here. Therefore, the prices themselves actually aren't very high.
You don't have to import it.
Of course.
Wow.
Aside from that, most of us don't feel the need to possess money in great quantities. Most of us are quite happy with the simple life that we lead. I'm quite content with my days growing, being with my family. Money is of no consequence. Just enough to get by, of course.
Well, either way, I feel terrible for not doing something extra because you've been so nice, and helpful to us today. So I'm going to give you a couple of extra silver. Please don't refuse.
I'm sorry, but it would be impolite of me to take it, so I must refuse. And he sort of politely bows to you.
May we have an extended honour from ourselves to thank you in your welcoming in here. Thank you.
I certainly.
I had one of the things. Oh, I wanted to have something that we had from here. Where is it?
Yeah, he sort of thinks about the way you phrase that. Says, you certainly honour me by being so polite, kind, and generous yourselves.
Okay.
So well, either way, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
And hopefully,
piece of polite, friendly advice, as you're obviously new to the continent. Most greetings and farewells tend to be exchanged with bows here as a etiquette that is, I suppose, somewhat unique to us as a culture and continent. Anything as simple as just an inclination of the body is quite acceptable, and only whoever is conversing at the time generally would need to bow. But
no, very well.
Thank you.
you.
Sorry, struggling to words.
Thank you.
just all of us repeatedly. So, everyone bow.
And home, where I'm from, the common courtesy is a curtsy. Curtsy.
Sort of.
For the ladies, the gentleman bow.
You're doing the creep there.
he does sort of seem very awkward. He does actually sort of go. It's like a little bit unsure of whether he's doing it right or not. Yes, but I certainly hope you enjoy your new taste of new fruits and such, and safe journey to you all.
Thank you for your hospitality.
And he
As
he sort of politely watches you mount up and go off, and then he goes back to working in his field.
What a lovely gentleman.
Yes. Okay, so we'll have a fairly low, sort of slow-paced sort of first day, and then we'll wait until it's starting to get dark, and then find somewhere to camp for the night.
So, as you come towards the edge of some of the main sort of growing areas around here, and a few of the various paddocks have a few animals in them, it's mostly open plain grassland. For a ways that you can see here, leading up towards a hill a bit further in the distance. There's the odd tree spaced here and there, nothing that would even remotely constitute even a copse of trees. It's just sporadic trees here and there. But I say, it seems fairly clear overall. It doesn't seem to be many travellers at the moment. So you start making your way. Horses again, because you're not pushing them particularly, they seem happy enough. You travel as it's sort of about midday by the time that you start heading out. You travel for a couple of hours. You get towards the top of the hill. Come to the top of the hill, and again over the other side goes downwards a little bit into largely more sprawling plains. There, in the distance here and there, you see the odd farm spaced out. Nothing extravagant, nothing large. A lot of them have a lot of fields of growing around, but it's fairly sparse and barren of any kind of industry, really. You keep travelling a bit further, passing a few more farms and such on the way. You see the odd people working in some of the growing fields and such. They sort of look as you go past. Don't really seem to react in any particular way. They just sort of take note and go back to whatever they're doing.
Any that look particularly, towards me or anything like that. I'm just gonna,
Any that give you a sideways glance or gouge out their eyes.
give them the. A slight nod, just a little sign of respect, basically.
Yeah. So, any of the ones that happen to specifically notice you give you almost a brief inclination of the head, but nothing major. Mostly the reason you can tell is a lot of them are wearing these large hats to keep the sun off them and such mainly.
Yeah, they look up. Oh, he's looking at me.
And you sort of see the brief tilt of the hat, which is kind of more pronounced based on the size of the hat.
I can just imagine because it's so bright. It's just like, oh, they're looking at me. It's like, bastard, do anything back? I can't fucking see. It's too bright.
But yeah, it gets towards evening. You at one point you decide to camp up. You stop. You get the horses. You prepare your camp for the evening. Is there anything particular?
New food.
New food. What are we? What should I prepare? I have no idea. We've got so much selection.
I'm going to I'm going to sort of do a sort of sweep of the perimeter, find somewhere where I can sort of watch from in the night, and possibly somewhere to place an alarm. Okay, so maybe just down the road, just to warn of anyone coming the other way.
So you're basically the particular spot you choose to stop on is up towards one of the higher inclines and one of the hills and things. So you've got a fairly good view down the hills a little bit. It's nothing close to a mountain or even a tor like you find in the UK. It's a very simple, just sort of slightly raised hill area. And everyone starts setting up. There does happen to be a tree here, which things get lent up, and the camp sort of springs up around largely, with the caravans mostly in the middle. You've got a fairly good view all the way around. I mean, if you felt the need, you could either climb the tree or sit up on one of the wagons, and you have a slightly elevated position there. The alarm, again, it's very open, so the alarm could go on whichever side you feel is weakest based on where everyone's kind of congregating. But say you can, and because it's quite clear, you can see quite a ways away.
I think I won't bother the alarm, then I'll save the spell slot.
You can see further than the alarm would
yes.
It'd be useful for.
I mean, like, even with this, like, there is a farm you can see probably a couple of miles away. It's not obviously huge or anything. Nothing interesting seems to be going on. You can see it. You can't see anything going on around it. You can't make out any people there. You can just make out the fact that there is a building and a couple of large paddocks. But
yeah, we'll set up camp. We'll sort out watches and.
But yeah, so I'm gonna basically do a bit of experiment with some of the new food. So I'm not gonna try and do it quickly. So just sort of go. Maybe that can go with that.
Okay.
So
roll me your chef's kit as a proficiency based on intelligence.
Intelligence.
Yeah. So basically, intelligence and proficiency for the purposes of this. Because what you're doing is you're almost taste testing these new things to see how they taste and what you think they'd work with. So that's why it's intelligence based.
Okay. 16.
Okay, so you try a couple of these things. You try a little bit of kiwi, you try a little bit of gourd and such, and a few of these other things. I would give you a full list of interesting things.
Oh yeah, but this is just sort of generalised.
It's going to be like that bit of Apocalypse Now where the guy who thinks he's the chef on the boat decides to go and find some mangoes and is getting chased by a tiger.
Not quite. But yeah, so you taste test a few of these things, and you think you've got some ideas, and based on a couple of the things, obviously that the farmer mentioned. You've got an idea as to what you're supposed to do with a couple of these things. Which means I'm happy for you to roll your chef's tools for cooking.
Yeah.
As normal.
Cool.
Yeah. As you're tasting things, I'm gonna hijack a piece of kiwi and taste that. Kiwi.
Yeah. That's not. Yeah.
I love kiwi.
It's not quite as great, but it'll be closer. 13.
Okay, so based on the fact that you're working with some really new and exotic flavours for what you're used to, do you use the rice in whatever you do?
Yeah, I'm going to have it in rice, because just by looking at how much there was, I'm like, yeah, that's the equivalent of like a sort of, filler, I suppose.
So based on the fact that you've got a general idea with rice, and the fact that this is fairly good rice, You know that rice tends to be a fairly bland taste on its own, and you have to cook it in with other things and other flavours. Because you're working very new things, it's definitely not the best you've ever cooked. It's not the gourmet meal, but it's actually very tasty and very appetising, and the new flavours make it probably a tastier meal than necessarily you'd have expected.
Yeah,
So-
because obviously it's rice, and it's probably, I'm like, well, that's quite a bit.
And again, you end up all quite enjoying this newly flavoured meal, which is just not quite like anything you've ever had before.
I'm gonna try the bananas.
Yeah, so what now? Yeah, it's like,
Because
okay.
we've only got 3. Take a bit each of one of them, then we'll have 2.
Alright, share that round. So, how did you say to open this thing? So,
Take off the skin.
sorry. And then it was,
Okay, roll me a basic intelligence.
Woo!
Just, like no proficiency, it's just intelligence.
I'm
plus
just
your
waiting for it to go. It's like 1. You.
He's going to banana.
7.
Okay, it's not particularly confusing. Like you sort of grab the top bit and
You're
pull,
trying to
and
peel it with a knife.
a little bit. You feel a little bit at the top inside squish, like sometimes happens.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it sort of almost oozes a little bit as you sort of pull it down.
Like, I'm probably
then-
watching you like,
Once you've sort of done that one and you notice inside there's the white of the inside banana, you sort of grab another bit at the top, seeing what's happening, and peel it down. And then grab another bit. And peel it down. Things a little bit sort of sticky from the little bit that oozes at the top, but otherwise you've got a banana, just a full banana there at that point.
let's all try a piece.
Yeah, it's alright. Yeah, so I set it
Yeah,
down. I cut it up into chunks, so
I'd
not all
say
4 of us
loud
can try
enough
it.
so that people around us can, if they want to try it, they can.
Yeah, so
Who wants to try banana?
I've got some thin slices. We've got a couple.
So a couple of the caravan drivers come over. A couple of them are fairly full from the meal. They don't eat as much necessarily. A couple of them come over. Barefoot comes over and I'll certainly have a try. And they'll have a little piece each.
I'm literally like,
Yeah, well, as you'd expect from
try these.
based on the outer character knowledge of how banana tastes. It's
Yeah.
quite
How
a
does it
sweet-
taste?
Yeah,
Banana.
it's quite a sweet flavour, almost naturally sugary, but not. It's quite a.
We should
soft,
see if we should see how we can preserve these and take some back.
Yeah, so I wonder how long they keep.
We could try drying them.
Is that maybe?
Probably a survival-based skill for that.
Yeah, if we dry them, grind them up into a, smooth.
Because you have read various cooking books and
And
everything
smoke
about
them.
chefing, and because you
Add
just
them
read
to
a lot of
drinks.
books generally, you can roll me an investigation based on what you've previously learned, and you can roll me an intelligence-based cookery.
Whoa.
I'm literally just sat there licking the bit of banana. I've got like.
I got the same as the previous intelligence one. 16.
12.
So it is possible to have the only way known to preserve them is essentially a drying process in which you've got like dried banana pieces, but the taste is very different to what it would be now, and it wouldn't be quite as nice as it is with the piece that you've tried now if you preserved it in that manner. In fact, it's almost like trail rations at that point for the way it's kept. And again, the flavour
It
is
ruins it.
Yeah.
Ruin it. It'd just be different. Anyway, who's going to? What's the watch Roger going to be tonight?
it is advised generally with
Anything
bananas
fast.
to keep them fresh and eat them fresh, however you decide to do
Okay, I'll take second after you then. Who's taking last watch?
Yeah, I honestly
second.
don't mind.
Third, fourth.
If I take last watch, it means I'll get 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep, so I'm fine with that.
Cool.
Okay.
First,
very well.
second, third, fourth. Done.
But yeah,
What can go wrong?
it goes by really quite uneventfully. During
Staring
the
out at
evening,
the,
yeah, during the evening, there's the odd bird that sort of flies past. There's no travellers. There's not a lot in the way of roaming wildlife that you've seen.
Cool.
It's really quite barren.
Wake up, pack
So,
up,
yeah,
carrying on.
on the tree, you might notice there's a spider hanging down between some of the branches, but otherwise it's not. It's really quite calm and peaceful.
Spider? Okay, no, it's a small one. It's fine.
Okay, let's
So,
we'll
wake up,
pack up camp and
Pack
get
up.
moving.
carry on.
So yeah, so
Yeah, no, I can just imagine it's like nothing. Dragon!
so as
Undead horde.
you pack up, you
Damn it,
eat a few bits of something for breakfast.
Leftovers.
yeah, if there was
Banana.
anything left over, then potentially have some of that. And then, or just have some of our normal rations.
I'm gonna have an apple.
Yes, and I'll get to the front of the column and yeah, we'll get going.
Okay, so you come down from the hill that you were camped on, travel up another hill, and as you start to get over the crest of this hill, you see a lot of rice paddies. You sort of come up to the point where you're starting to see where all these rice paddies are, and there are a lot of these.
Where have they got this water from?
There's
It looks like the whole countryside is flooded.
yeah, there is a lot of even as early as it kind of is. There are actually quite a few people. There are quite a few people already tending some of these paddies and such. They're easily shin deep in water. Some of them as they're going about and tending.
So maybe this land was flooded, and that's how they discovered.
Here and there, you do notice that there's wooden, almost runs between some of the paddies here and there, and they connect up here and there, and sort of in the distance a little bit. Now that you've crested some of the hills, you do see what does look like possibly a mountain range, more towards the north, which probably would suggest where some of the water may come from. But
Yeah, because does it look just by looking at it, does it look like that they've sort of man-made a way, to get water flowing down in a more what's the word?
Strategic manner.
Irrigate water.
Yeah, strategic manner.
that would be your guess.
It's all been well engineered and well organised on a massive
Yeah.
scale.
There might be some kind of pump system, but based on the fact that the wooden runs, you think they might be enclosed for some kind of protection or basic maintenance and such. You're not really sure, but that would be your best guess. But as you
So
like
impressed.
some of the paddies are sort of slightly raised, some are slightly lower. But again, there is water in them, obviously, because that's how they're done.
Yeah.
The smell makes you sort of wrinkle your nose a little bit because you're not used to it. It's not horrifically foul, but it is still sort of fermenting that you can smell to a degree. So it's a little bit nose wrinkling. There are clear pathways and roads between some of the paddies and such, which is what you end up travelling on.
Yep.
You end up going uphill with some of the paddies towards some of the more raised ones, and after maybe an hour's worth of travelling, sort of the odd even out and then a slight incline again. You crest over to the top of where some of the highest paddies you've seen are, and you see the city of Siltai. It is a very, very large city, nothing compared to the size of Obsidia, but Obsidia is fucking colossal.
Yeah. Obsidia is ridiculously large.
Massive.
So think think a little bit like some of the Japanese castles from older times.
Kyoto Castle, I think, is a classic one. Yeah.
The very centre of this city is a fairly large raised castle that's well defended, walls around it and such. Sort of coming down around the edges, it does look like it's on sort of a large hill or something, because it sort of leads up to where the castle is. But all around it are various other buildings with the same type of aesthetic.
Well, I assume those are all the temples for the pilgrimage for the pilgrims.
There does look like residences as well as temples, but there are a couple that have a distinctly temple-like look to them. The very outside, there's a large white wall, topped again in a similar fashion to some of the tops of the buildings, with the slanted tiles and very very Japanese aesthetic to it.
How late in the day are we?
At this point, based on the amount of time you've been travelling, it's probably about 11 o'clock. You think to get from where you are to the main gate of Siltai, it's probably about an hour, with the distance that you've got there. And obviously you're making your way there. I will leave it at you pretty much getting into the gates.
That makes sense. Now this is where the shenanigans could possibly arrive.
Shenanigans. Okay, well I won't be here next week, so Hoff will do what Hoff does. Do what Hoff does. He'll scout and he'll.
We'll have a chat about what's going on. Obviously off.
Oh yeah, no, well I'm with that because provided everybody else is here, then we should still be running.
If anyone else happens to be unable to make it for any reason, then either way, we'll talk about that off stream.
Yeah, so there we go. So we've made our way across the sea, into a new land, where we hopefully will make our delivery without any problems.
Doubt it.
Fertile and verdant land, and we shall call it
this land. And when something goes wrong, then we can just say, curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
No, we shall call it your grave.
And then we'll insult their funny hats and their silly. Look at their silly accents and their crazy costumes.
And death to you.
Yes, I miss home.
They're so polite, they're not going to stop me being obnoxious. How far can I push this?
And you're dead.
Yes, I've just been stabbed by something. It feels unpleasant.
Pilgrims, happy Thanksgiving, pilgrims.
Anyway, so thank you very much, guys. Hope you've enjoyed. So it's good to be able to roll some dice again.
Yes.
So I will let you guys know, if we can't run next week for whatever reason, but hopefully everything should be fine. Excuse me. So join me and Cassus on Saturday. We'll be continuing with some more God of War.
Oi, boy.
Yeah, which we're getting quite powerful now, so be interesting. How where we go from here. But otherwise, yeah. So thank you very much again, guys, and hope to see at least some of you next time. And as I do a quick dash for the computer because it's over here.
Ciao for now, guys. Bye.
Goodbye.
He's got some